First order of business is the review of the minutes. What's the pleasure of the board?
Accept them as presented, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on that matter?
Under discussion, I'm going
Yes.
to abstain. I was absent from that meeting.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So, one abstention. Okay. Next order of business, a pole installation hearing on Plain Street. I know the National Grid is here. Could you just come up forward, please, ma'am? Good evening, how you doing? Could you please state your name and the company for the record, ma'am?
Iris Price for National Grid.
Okay. This is going to be a public hearing, so we're going to open it up. And can you please tell us what you're going to be doing, ma'am? What the request is?
We would like to put a pole on Plain Street. We have a guy in the tree
Okay.
that needs to come down. In order to do that, we would have to put a pole to hold up the other poles on the street.
Okay. Did everybody else get a chance to look at it or anything?
Yeah, well,
Okay. Will this being a public hearing, anybody from the public who want to speak in favor of? Anybody against? Being none, either way. What's the pleasure of the board? I'll close the hearing now. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chair, I approve as presented to the board.
This second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
So Paul for Plain Street, it's approved. You have another one also?
Yes, the other one is on Stone Street. We have a service that's going, existing service that's going over a pool, a swimming pool that we would like to relocate the service to clear, for clearance purposes.
Okay,
In order to do this, we need a pole.
okay. Once again, it's a public hearing. Anybody in the audience that would want to speak for? Anybody against? Being none, we'll close the hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to allow the pole on Stone Street.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
That's also approved, so, yeah, you got both of your requests passed. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks
Always
for
nice
coming.
to see you, Iris. See you later.
Okay. Those are done. Okay.
You know everybody.
Yes.
So next order of business, the Public Works labor interviews. Chris, you want to come up there for a minute?
How are we doing this? Age? Alphabetical order? Okay.
We have 8 candidates and stuff like that, so what we're going to do is we're going to ask questions of the candidates. If Mr. McGowan can participate if you would like to. I hope you will. And we'll take 8 candidates today, and then we'll take a vote on what we're going to do.
Chris, do you have any basic questions that we should be asking?
You can ask them if you want.
I think experience, more construction-related experience and licenses are important. I don't know, it's really basically a construction job is what I see it as,
Okay.
more so than anything else, you know.
Okay.
Okay.
Experience, licenses, that's really the most important stuff as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. All right, so you want to bring the first candidate, Chris?
That's fine. Is he? Yeah. He's going to be in my running, too.
Yeah, I know.
This is John Costello.
How you doing, John? As you know, we're having interviews for the DPWs. You're one of the candidates for that. We're going to give you an opportunity to tell us why you would like the position and why you qualify for the position. And then we're going to ask you a series of questions. And then at the end of that, you'll have another opportunity to cover any areas you want to respond to, or maybe you forgot to tell us something that you want to add to. Okay?
Do the best I can.
Okay, so with that being said, you're on.
I think I'm qualified because I'm a homeowner and a taxpayer in town. I'm looking for something to do to continue my employment. I worked for the Department of Correction for 20 plus years and I retired this actually last month. So I'm looking to continue to do something to keep busy, actually, to keep productive.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to say to us? No? Okay. Okay. Bobby, you have any questions?
Yeah, John, through your experience, on your application, it doesn't give you the opportunity to explain yourself. Could you tell my colleagues your years of experience with the prison? I remember you worked as a ranger, and you have several years' experience working in the cemetery during the summer months when we weren't in school.
Yeah, I worked over in the cemetery growing up. I was part of a CETA program over there as a young kid. I worked over there kind of seasonal over at Woodlawn. I started working for the state, for the Department of Environmental Management up on Mount Wachusett. I worked up in the fire tower a couple days a week, and I worked maintaining the park up there, the hiking trails and all the you know, the vistas and all the stuff up there. Also, I ran inmate work crews for probably 12 of the years I was in the prison down at MCI Lancaster. Painting some of the schools here in town, the fire station, and some of the other things I kind of, you know, oversaw the boys doing things like that. Among other things, walking the roads, 190, Route 2, doing litter removal and things like that.
Thanks, John. Yeah, I'm all set.
Mr. Costello, I see that you, most of your career was with the state. You said you were retired, so you're planning on just pretty much staying here and making a living here and kind of
Oh, yeah.
staying for a long time and hanging around?
Well, I'm from
I
here.
mean, this isn't a stepping stone, obviously. You're ready to work and stay, right?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm all set.
Selectman Montero?
Okay, a couple of questions. What are your greatest strengths? What are the greatest strengths that you bring to this job?
I think my work ethic, I don't have a problem working. I mean, I think I'd be good at anything, you know, in that field. And getting along with people, I'm sure I know most of the guys in the local departments. I'm sure I'll be able to get along with everybody. And I think you need that today.
Sure. Okay, and what's your greatest weakness?
Boy.
Putting you on the spot here.
Vocabulary with Sister Mary Gerald.
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that.
Okay. That's fine. Thank you.
Selectman Florentino?
How you doing, John?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. So when you're in a typical job, what types of things satisfy you at the end of the day as far as...
Well, I'd like to think that I do the best job that I could, no matter what I'm doing. Just make sure I got things done that I was told to do, and to get it ready for the next day.
Okay, thank you. Is there any situations where you had trouble dealing with other employees, and how did you handle it, if so?
I don't really, other employees, no, I don't think so.
How about with any supervisors or management? Have you had any trouble?
Nope. Maybe you did make it to, you know, but nothing you couldn't handle. You know what I mean?
Okay, thank you.
Hi, John, how you doing? Tell me, in 5 years from now, if you're still with the DPW, right, where do you see yourself within the department?
Well, I couldn't foresee what would be open, I guess, at that time. If there was a promotion available and I could do it, I guess I'd be there. Or if not, I'd probably be where I am starting out, or wherever I could be.
Okay, specifically, where do you think you want to be within the department? Because usually what happens is there's a rate that you go up on. For example, if you start on a trash truck, where do you sell yourself? Going road department, the cemetery department, you know, foreman? I mean, where do you see yourself?
Anything. I really have no set goal sitting here tonight to tell you, but anything that could come available, I'd give it a shot.
And you looking to stay for another 10 or 20 years, or? What's?
I'd like to be on the planet that long. You know, but, yeah, sure.
Okay.
20 years from now, we wouldn't have taken that bet. huh?
Yeah. Yeah, probably not.
Gotta ask.
Probably not.
Both of us know it.
Okay. Working in corrections, how would you handle a conflict within, if you had a conflict in the department, right, with somebody or something or someone, how would you handle it?
Well,
Because conflicts do happen from time to time.
oh, I'm sure. Depends what it would be. I mean, that's kind of a vague question to me, Steve. It depends. I mean, well, if someone come up and say, you know, if there was a physical confrontation, then you'd have to handle it the way you'd have to handle it. I mean, it depends what that situation
Okay, how would you
be.
handle it, since you brought it up, how would you handle it if it was a physical confrontation?
Well, I know I wouldn't start it.
Okay,
That'd be one thing.
okay,
I don't know.
you
Depends.
don't know? Okay,
I don't know. Depends how it would be.
all right. Okay. That's all I have. Thank you very much. Anything else you'd like to add, or?
No.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys having me in.
No problem.
Okay, John.
Thanks, John.
Okay, guys, thanks.
Johnny.
Who's next? I'm gonna tell for what about?
Chad Goodmanson?
How you doing, Chad?
Good, how are you tonight?
Good, thank you. As you know, you're interviewing for the DPW position for the trash truck, okay? So we're going to give you an opportunity to tell us why you want the job and why you think you're qualified for the position. Then we'll ask you some questions, and then when we're done with that, we're going to give you another opportunity to ask questions yourself too.
All right.
Okay? So you're on, go ahead. You're on. You can tell us why you're qualified, why you think you're qualified.
I think I'm qualified because I enjoy doing work outside.
Mhm.
I don't mind getting my hands dirty. I've done work like this. I've been around trucks and machinery for a couple of years now. I can drive the plow truck in the winter. I can do whatever's asked of me. I'm eager to learn and eager to do so.
Okay. Okay. So how many, you said, oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Anything else you want to add to that? Just getting ahead of myself there. Bobby?
Chad, could you give me a description of what your construction background entails?
I've been working with people like for side jobs. Like I know basic sewer work, water work, and things like that. Can run a machine, drive a truck. I'm in the process of getting my hydraulics license now.
Good for you.
and plan on getting my CDL soon.
At the golf course, what kind of work did you do at the golf course? Were you more inside or were you outside doing stuff?
They had me. I was a busboy on paper, but they had me doing a lot of stuff.
Jack of all trades?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Chad, how long do you see yourself working for the town?
As long as the town will let me work for them.
You know, what's your goals for life? I mean, what are you planning on doing? I mean, is this it, or do you?
No, I'd like to stay with this as long as I could. If there was a better opportunity for me, I might go for that.
Thank you.
Selectman Notaro?
Could you tell me what your greatest strengths are that you bring to this job?
I can think quick on my feet. I can think quick, and usually I know what I'm doing, and I'm a quick learner. I pick up on stuff quick.
Okay, and what weaknesses? Do you have any weaknesses that you might think of?
If I can't do something, I get really frustrated sometimes. If I'm not capable of doing it, or I can't figure out how to do it, it frustrates me.
Okay, you said that you plowed snow, you plowed for Kilcoynes?
Yep.
Did you, now, you said you don't have a CDL license now, you're going for it, is
Yeah.
that? Okay. I'm good.
Selectman Florentino?
How you doing? How would former coworkers and supervisors describe you?
Everyone says I'm a hard worker, and I listen to what I'm told to do. Usually I don't give anyone problems.
Okay. Have you, how do you handle a stressful or a deadline situation on the job?
I work, if there's a deadline, I work until it's completed, and I usually have it done when it's needed to be done.
Okay. And finally, what kind of supervisor do you prefer?
Excuse me?
What kind of a supervisor do you prefer? One that's hands-on with you, one that's hands-off?
I like it with someone, if they have the knowledge to help me, I like the hands-on person. Or if someone just stands around, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years within the department if you were to get the job?
Well, I'm doing whatever they ask me to do, if I have the job.
Okay. But specifically, you see yourself in the trash truck, in the water department, where do you see yourself? What's your goal, I guess, within the department?
I wouldn't mind going into the water department,
Okay.
like that kind of work.
Okay. What do you like about it?
I just like the hands-on work. I don't mind getting dirty, like that.
Okay. Okay. And again, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked the other person. Is, how would you handle if you had a conflict with another person on the job, or how would you handle that? How would you get through that?
Well, I try not to let it interfere with my work. And if it did, I'd go to a supervisor and let them know the problem and take it from whatever they said I'd do.
Okay. Okay. And even though we're in the DPW, right, it's a job of customer service. You always got to make sure that we take care of people. And how would you handle if somebody can complain to you about not doing something right or something? How would you handle that?
If someone came to me complaining about
Yeah.
me, I would try to improve myself on whatever they said I wasn't doing, and I'd try to help them with whatever they needed.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay. Now, you said you were working on your hydraulics license. You already started that process already?
Yeah, I applied for it, and I actually sent it in already, but they sent it back. I had to send some more stuff in. I'm still waiting to hear from them right now.
So you could potentially already have it.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you applied for your CDL permit yet or anything?
No, I was waiting to get that first, so
Okay.
I'm studying. I didn't get confused on it.
Okay. And how many years plowing you said you were doing?
Last year I did it for the Pine Rows,
Yeah.
and then the year before that I did like driveways and parking lots for another gentleman from Lunenburg.
Okay, when you did it for Tacoma, did you do it at night too, or just during?
Yeah, did it at night. He did it for the state, so I was out there whenever
Okay.
they called.
Okay. Okay. That's all I have. Do you want to add anything else? Chris, do you have any questions for the young man? Nothing at all? No DPW stuff?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chad.
Thanks, Joe. Seems pretty relaxed. Seems pretty relaxed.
Yeah, like us around there.
Is that Woody's
Woody.
kid?
Yeah.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
It looks like it. Woody's not. Who's next now? Alphabetical.
Eric Poulos.
Eric, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. You're interviewing for the DPW position, right?
Yes, I did.
You know what it pays, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Basically, we're going to ask you some questions. We're going to give you an opportunity to tell us why you qualify for the position and why you want the job.
Okay.
Okay, and then we're going to give you another opportunity at the end in case you missed something or you want to follow up on something. I want to give you that opportunity again. So anyone here, including the DPW superintendent, can ask any questions at any time. All right?
Okay.
So with that being said, why do you think you qualify for this position? Why do you think you should get this job?
I've been a lifelong resident of Clinton, and I've done a lot of like construction work and things like that. I went to school to run heavy equipment and do like construction, like finishing work, stuff like that. I like to work outside. that's, pretty much the slim skinny of it. I like, I don't know, pretty much that's it.
All righty. Selectman Florentino, any questions? Sure. I mess everybody up.
So what kind of work experience do you have for this particular job?
Right now, I do landscape construction and like walkways, patios. Right now, I just got done putting a sidewalk in a residential area. I've done a bunch of different like contracting work, like gutters, siding, anything, light carpentry work. I also, the job I work at right now, I do a lot of hauling. I drive a F-650, haul a lot of material to places. I'm also in the process of getting my CDL license too.
Okay. How do you organize and plan for major projects?
It starts off with the manpower that I can use, like, how many need for a job, how many total man hours it'll take per, guy, so we know what we're spending on manpower, the materials I can use and the cost of the materials, where I can get it, and then start from the ground, what equipment I have available to, do the job. And then pretty much from there, jump in a piece of equipment, mark out my, my site, things like that. Look at a blueprint, carry away.
Okay, thank you.
It says here that you have extensive experience. You can run any heavy equipment, backhoes, excavators, et cetera. Do you have any of those licenses?
I went to a school in New Hampshire. It was called Associated Training Services.
Yep.
And they gave me a license. It's licensed by the NCCER.
Yep.
And that's pretty much the only license I have. I don't have a hydraulics license. And like I said, I'm in the process of getting my CDL.
But with this training, you'd be able to get your hydraulics license, no
Oh, yeah.
problem. Okay.
I get pretty much any piece of equipment you put me in, I can run it.
Okay, very good. What are your greatest strengths? What strengths do you bring to this job?
Pretty much, basically, like site coordination is one thing that I'm pretty strong at. Like I know what needs to be done, how long, and what to do to get it done.
Okay.
Pretty much is what I do right now.
Okay. How about weaknesses? Do you have a weakness or two?
I don't do very well, so in like situations like this, I get kind of nervous.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. You're honest. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
How long do you see yourself working for the town of Clinton?
As long as they'll employ me.
You don't have any other goals, or, this would be
I
it?
mean, everyone's got, one particular goal they'd like to do for the rest of their life, but, other than that, this seems like a pretty good job that I'd be able to, get on with, something that I would be stable with, not have to move from job to job to job, try to do something stable and, get on with things.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sam Pascal?
Eric, you are familiar with the starting rate of pay,
Yes.
$14.61 an hour, okay? And can you, I guess you've given this, so give me a description of your current construction experience that you're doing right now, again, just to refresh our...
Well, we only really do like I don't build houses or things like that. Do run irrigation lines. Like I said, I just got done doing a sidewalk in a residential, and I did that from the ground up. Dug everything out, put all the gravel down, put in the curbing. Okay, basically I just didn't do was lay the pavement. I know how to use a transit laser, grade out things, stuff like that. These are things that I learned in the school that I attended.
Okay, thank you.
All set, Bob?
Yeah?
Where do you see yourself within 5 years in the department, if you stay that long? You gotta have some type of goals. You look like a smart kid.
Well, hopefully to, you know, move ahead in the department, not stay stagnant, you know what I mean? Try to learn as much as I can while I'm here, so to progress myself within the department, you know? I don't want to stay, you know, a laborer or stay, like I said, stay stagnant and stay in one place. I'd like to try to move up, you know, by just good work ethic, you know? Come in to work every day, do your job, you know, be a good person, be sociable, and, you know,
Okay. Describe good work ethic to me.
good work ethic.
Describe that for me.
Showing up on time, for one thing, coming to work every day. You know, if your supervisor or something says, hey, can you do this for me, you know, right now, and, you know, don't throw a hissy fit, be like, I did this before, you know? Just coming to work, doing your job, but not just coming to work and doing your job and walking around with a chip on your shoulder like, I gotta be at this place, you know?
Okay.
Come to work, do your job, go home, call it a day.
So do you like, back to the question of the 5 years, water department, cemetery, you know, where do you, any preference?
Not really. I mean, like I said, as long as I'm really working outside, I'm happy. You know, and as long as I'm not, you know, knee deep in sewage and sewer. You know,
You could be.
Well, I mean, you know, no one really wants to aspire to constantly, you know, be trudging around in sewage. But I'm just saying, as an example.
It's water department's out, right?
Yeah, I've done worse, but
We try not to be knee-deep in it ever.
Sometimes it happens, unfortunately, you know,
hopefully just have good boots.
in high winds,
Knee-deep
too.
in
It's up
water
to
a
you,
lot.
waiters or something.
In the cold, Chris.
Cold doesn't really bother me.
Another
I'd rather
question.
be cold than hot
Yeah.
any day of the week.
The other question I have is, how would you handle a conflict in the department? If you had a conflict with somebody else in the department, how would you handle that?
Well, number one, I always try to talk things out. You know what I mean? Arguing the situation out hurts a lot less than getting into a fight with somebody, you know? But if it came to a point where I was having a problem within my department where it was going to stop me from doing my work, before the situation became me, I would, you know, address my higher up, superintendent, whatever, inform him of the situation, not play sides, just tell him, look, this is what's going on.
Okay.
That's about that, you know?
Okay.
I'll try to avoid a physical confrontation as much as possible, you know? No fight's worth losing your job over,
Get that right.
you know?
Okay. And you talked about getting a CDL license, but you haven't got the permit yet or anything. You haven't.
No, I just recently went, because the job that I have now, I basically work from like 7 in the morning until whenever I go home.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard to get to the registry, but I did get the book, and I've been reading over the book. I'm going to go halfway through that and go take the final test.
Okay. And getting back to NCCR you were talking about,
Yes,
how long is that training?
it was a little over 2 months.
2 months?
Yeah.
And that gives you actual licenses, or just gives you training on how to do that stuff?
It gives me a license. I have it with me if you'd like to see it.
No, I'm just curious.
Yeah, it gives you an actual little,
Certificate or something, or a license?
I have a license in my wallet. It lists all
Everything you can.
everything I can run, you know, my construction qualifications, things like that.
Okay. And that was done at the ATS, right?
Yes.
What did that stand for again?
Associated Training Services.
Okay. I don't have any more questions. Do you have anything else? Chris, you have any questions?
Good, thank you.
Anything you'd like to add?
No, not really.
Okay.
Just thank you for the opportunity for, you know, letting me come out here and talk to you guys and see me.
Okay.
That's about it.
Thank you for your interest in our town.
No problem. Lived here my whole life.
I know.
I'd like to stay here longer.
Right in my backyard.
A whole
Oh,
20,
yeah.
whole 24 years. These guys are so young. So old. Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming. Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, sir.
Alex, how you doing?
Good, how you?
Good. We're going to ask you some questions. Okay. We're going to give you an opportunity also to Tell us why you want this job and why you think you're qualified for this position. We're going to ask you the questions, and then once you finish asking questions, we're going to give you another opportunity to follow up, or if you missed something, you want to add to something, or clarify something, we're going to give you that opportunity at the end. Okay? So with that being said, tell us why you think you're qualified for this position and why we should hire you for the position.
Well, I'm looking for a career job, and I'm from this town, and I've been a hard worker. I was in the military, used to working hard hours.
Okay? Right. All right. Bobby, any questions?
Alex, can you give me a description of your construction experience?
I did masonry work for a company called EMG. We did walls, stone walls, that's about it.
Okay. Any other talents that you have? Do you have a CDL license?
No, sir.
Are you willing to go and learn to get your CDL and hazmat and whatever you need to
Yes, sir.
expand it yourself? Okay.
I worked on big vehicles when I was in the military.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All set, Bob?
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Selectman Mazzillo?
Alex, how long do you think you'd be interested in working for the town of Clinton?
I plan on making a career soon.
Oh, you do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good.
Selectman Mateo?
Yes, tell me what the greatest strengths you bring to this job are.
Great benefits, closer to home, and just closer to home pretty much is the biggest thing for me.
No, really, the strengths that you bring to the job.
Oh, sorry about that. I consider myself a hard worker, and I'm willing to work any hours, and that's about it, I guess.
Okay, how about any weaknesses?
I still have my CDL, I guess, and it's kind of a new experience for me.
Okay. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Selectman Florentino?
Okay. How you doing? What did you like about your last job?
It was my first job when I got out of the military, so it was a lot more relaxed than being in the military. It was just a job just to make stepping stone to go up, pretty much. Just working landscaping and building walls, pretty much. So,
Is there anything you disliked about the job?
what I disliked, they messed up on my pays a couple times, which I didn't really appreciate. They were paying me some couple times. And
So how'd you handle that?
I called them and asked them about it, and they just told me that it was the bank's fault. I didn't really like that answer, so I just went looking around.
So did you ever resolve the situation?
I just got another job. I was working on, I'm doing right now, working on telephone poles, subcontractor for National Grid.
Okay. What do you believe is your biggest accomplishment?
Doing boot camp and passing through all that in the military, I'm guessing.
Okay.
It's a lot different experience than staying home and a whole different world out there, I guess.
Thank you.
Yes. Alex, where do you see yourself 5 years, if we were to hire you, where do you see yourself in 5 years within the department?
Hopefully moving up in the job and hopefully have my CDL and going up from there.
Okay. Well, but where specifically? Water department, what specifically?
I have a cousin that works in the water department, so maybe the water department.
Okay. Okay. Have you thought about how you're going to get there? What you need to do that?
I'm not sure. I'm not exactly at the level.
Okay. And in the workplace, wherever you go, there's always going to be some type of conflict somewhere. I mean, it's not a perfect world. How would you handle a conflict within the department if you had a problem with somebody, or how would you handle it?
I'll talk to my foreman about it and let them handle it.
Okay. Okay. And then you mentioned you worked for pole inspections. Can you tell me a little bit about that job? What exactly you do?
I inventory. I got a little iPad, it's like a little handheld computer, and I GPS them,
Okay.
check out devices on it, check which way the power is coming from, and what customers are getting power from which poles.
Okay. So describe a normal day for you. What would that be?
Right now I work in Chelmsford because
Yeah.
I move around everywhere. I use my own vehicle.
Yeah.
And I I work on myself, so I go out there, I check every pole. I do about 55 poles a day, work 10-hour days. So I was pretty much all by myself, so I pretty much do my own hours.
Okay. But what do you specifically, just check the poles themselves?
Yeah, I GPS them and check what's on them.
Okay. Okay. And you said you were in the Marine Corps, I know that. You were driving and maintaining AAV. What's an AAV?
Salt amphibious vehicle. It's a vehicle that drives on water and land.
Oh, but the salt, okay. You got an all-wheel discharge, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. What did you like most about the Marine Corps?
Different experience, seeing different places, meeting people from different parts of the United States.
Okay. What didn't you like?
Just how they're always in your space pretty much, and they always have to be on you constantly pretty much about everything. So.
Okay. Alrighty. Chris, you have any questions? Anything else you want to add, Alex?
I consider myself a hard worker, and I think I'll be a good worker for you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Alex.
Sarah?
Hi, Peter. How you doing? Good. We're going to, give you an opportunity to tell us why you want this position, why you think you're qualified. We're going to ask you a series of questions. And then at the end, we're going to give you another opportunity to answer questions. If you forgot to say something, or something you want to add, or something you want to clarify, we're going to give you that opportunity, okay? So with that being said, why do you think you're qualified for this job, and why should we hire you for this position?
The qualification is, the resume, they got about 23 years in the land survey. And I think with that, as far as, grading abilities and with road designs and stuff like that, and reading blueprints, if there was ever a major break or something, and Mr. McGowan needed somebody quickly to get over to the barn to look at the layout drawing, give me an area of what he's looking for, I could actually get right in there and realize what I'm doing instead of, just scratching my head saying, if so was somebody else, geez, where is it, whereabouts, I can grab it and get it to them and, take care of the problem.
Anything else you want to add to that? Or?
As far as wanting the job, it's the job security that I really want. And number two is to add into my retirement and, just stay here for another 15, 20 years. I love the town of Clinton. I was raised here, born here. Great town, great community. I like to pay back and I love to work for them.
Okay, thank you. Bobby, any questions?
Peter, could you give us a description of your construction experience?
Well, a lot of the work that I do is mainly construction. It's new developments. We just finished one out in Douglas. It's 75 homes. And a lot of the layout was the sewer lines, the water lines, electrical lines. And as far as, after that's laid out, you physically, run the grades to make sure that everything's flowing right. Make sure that, hooks up are all to hook up and everything's all set. A lot of septic systems.
Okay, thanks, Peter.
Selectman Mazzillo?
Peter, I apologize, I don't have any of your stuff in front of me. Do you have CDL license, hydraulics, anything like that? No, okay. That's good, I'm all set. He already said he wanted to retire here.
Selectman Mateo?
Hi, Pete. So could you tell us what the greatest strengths that you bring to this job are?
I think my ability to, as far as the survey work, if there was any kind of land dispute or anything, if it was a major problem that had to be taken care of right away instead of a company come in, that you know, just even looking at blueprints and just going up and it just, you know, the ability to do it quickly instead of costing the town a lot more money.
Okay. How about, do you bring any weaknesses?
I don't think that I have any weaknesses, no.
Come on, none? Okay.
I love outdoors, I love to work outdoors, you can see the last 23 years.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Selectman Florentino?
Hi, everyone. What do you feel that you have done that shows initiative in your job?
What have I done to show initiative for this job I'm doing?
No, for your job you're at now, or a previous job.
You say that again? What have I done?
Yeah, is some task you've done that you feel shows initiative on the job?
Basically, I think everything that's part of the job that I was just got laid off from, which I haven't worked in a few months. Just the ability to be there on time. I've always on time. Never been late for the last 23 years. If you wanted to check my backgrounds of some of my past employees, they would give you the same thing. Very seldom I miss it. If I miss it, it's going to be a real big problem.
Okay. What do you feel is the most difficult situation you've faced on the job?
I think there'd be really much of anything, really.
Okay. Can you describe like what types of decisions you had to make on the job? Like for the 75 homes that you built in Douglas, what kind of decisions did you have to make at that level?
Well, first I'd get to my office in the morning, and they'd give me a format of everything that I'd be doing for the day. The only other decision I have to make if there was a water break or something, and the construction company come down and said, we can check here right away, something not working. Instead of me calling into my employee, I would take the command myself with my ability to go up there and fix the problem right away.
Okay, thank you, I'm all set.
Peter, where do you see yourself in 5 years within the department? I mean, I know you don't want to stay on a trash truck for the rest of your career if you were to be hired, so.
Right through the channels, whoever leaves, and then I move up, and someday I may be sitting.
I like when people say that. I really do.
So that's what we're shooting for.
I like that.
So specifically, you prefer the water department, the cemetery department? I mean, where do you feel you would fit in best if you would, to move up?
I only had, this past few months, I've been working a little bit with cutting grass with it, part-time work, a little work, trying to get some work. And I should say I cut a lot of grass. Yes. But, I like to move up and stay with the DPW, really, and wherever openings are, it's always nice to move up to the water department,
Okay. And you think that would be a good fit with the experience that you have?
I think the water department would be real good with the experience I have, as far as reading blueprints, if there's sewer breaks, water breaks, any kind of breaks, that the ability to read blueprints.
Okay. And the other question I have is, in every job we have, or in situations in life, we have conflict, unfortunately. How would you handle a conflict in your department if you had a problem with someone else, a peer or somebody there? How would you handle that?
First and most, I'd probably call my superiors, or if it was a major conflict, I'd probably call the police department.
Okay. Okay. Alrighty. You mentioned some of the decisions. I'm going to follow up on one of Tony's questions. When you got to your place of employment, the last job you had something broke, so you had some authority to make decisions on your own. You didn't have to call back to your boss?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And that is based because they trained you properly, or why do you think that was?
Because of the years that I have in as doing the land survey.
Okay. Okay.
And the knowledge of what has to be done.
Okay. Okay. And somebody, I don't know if, I'm probably repeating myself, but did somebody, how long you plan to stay? You said for 20 years or something like that, you said?
I don't plan on leaving Clinton, so I plan on staying right here.
So if somebody called you tomorrow and said, I got a job for you in the state somewhere else, would you take it?
Probably not. If I have to travel, probably not.
Okay. Define travel for me.
To find travel?
Yes.
Well, let's see.
Worcester, Pittsburgh,
No, I've worked on the Cape, I've worked out in Hopkinton, I've worked on New Haven, Connecticut. That's travel.
so you'd be committed to at least giving us 2 or 3 years, right?
I'd be committed to giving you more than 2 to 3 years.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Anything else you want to add? Oh, Chris, you have any questions?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Anything else you want to add, Pete? Clarify or anything? Okay.
Thanks for the opportunity to present to you.
Okay. Well, thank you for the time, for coming in.
Ready to go?
Okay, thank you.
for your interest, Peter.
Okay, thanks, Peter.
Thanks, Pete. Johnny.
Gentlemen?
Mr. McNally, how you doing? Mr. O'Malley, rather, excuse me. John, well, I have another name, but I can't use that name. John, you know, you're interviewing for the DPW position. We're going to give you an opportunity to tell us why you want the job and why you think you qualify for the position. We're going to ask you some questions, and then at the end of those questions, we're going to give you another opportunity to clarify or add or take away or whatever. Okay, so with that being said, tell us why you're interested in the position.
I'd like to have this job because I'm absolutely tired of traveling. I'm
Okay.
tired of traveling. I'm doing it the last 11 years, and it's catching up with me. Some of my big monetary woes are over, so I'd rather have some time now.
Good for you.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add to that, or?
That's my big concern.
Bobby?
John, could you give us an overall description of your construction experience over the years? Your knowledges, your licensures?
Licenses, Class A CDL, hydraulics license, pipe fitters license, OSHA certified, 40-hour OSHA training, OSHA construction training, and certified in compliant entry.
Thank you.
Anything else, Robert?
Just, could you give me an overall, say you're on the trash truck, and you guys have done your route, and there's a big break down on Main Street. You could get right in there and,
Those are new pipes. We can't have breaks.
well, okay, let's say Upper Main, let's say Upper Main.
I'd have to come over the table.
Upper Main,
Could I get down in the hall? Yes, I could.
or this scenario, John. Buddy McCrell's out, nobody can operate the backhoe at the cemetery. Could you open a grave?
Sure,
No problem.
no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Also,
Yep.
hi, John, how are you?
Good, how are you?
All right. I'm assuming that this is not a stepping stone and you're pretty much ready to settle in?
This is it.
Give us some years and,
This is it. I've traveled for the last 11 years. I leave my house at 4:45 in the morning. I get home 6 o'clock at night. At this point, I don't need the big bucks anymore.
good. All right, excellent.
I need enough to pay my taxes.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Mr. Chairman.
Hi, John. So,
All right, Joe.
what are the greatest strengths that you bring? And I think you probably already addressed that with your, talking about your licenses and your construction experience, but
I bring a lot of construction experience, water, sewage, drainage, road building, and I don't know, maybe I could help some of the new guys that come in.
and how about any weaknesses? Do you bring any weaknesses?
I never really thought of that. really can't think of any.
Okay. Thanks, that's all I have.
Selectman Florentino?
Hi, John.
How are you?
Good, thank you. So could you describe how you would organize and plan for a major project?
First, I have to go to maybe my fearless leader and see if we have the equipment, if we have the manpower, and what's involved with doing the job. Have the right people, right equipment.
Okay.
And timing is everything.
Okay, I think we got an answer to that one. Oh, you described you're certified in confined entry. Could you explain to the board what that means? Because I've actually...
Well, if you go, you can't just open a manhole maybe 40 feet deep and climb down in it. You gotta be trained. You've got to know how deep it is, if there any gases in it, if any water flows in it. You know, is it gonna hurt someone if you send someone down there? How deep is it? Do they need to be tied up, strapped up, safety equipment? Any place that only has one entrance to it is called a confined entry. Could be a boiler, it could be a manhole, it could be a, what do they call it, a vault, a water vault?
Vaults, yeah, we
Yeah,
have vaults.
vaults.
We have a lot of confined entry. Well, any manhole in town is considered
Confined.
confined entry.
Okay. Thank you. Finally, what did you like most about your last job?
I actually like the job, I don't like the time that's involved in it.
Well, I understand that's what you dislike about it, but what did you like about the job?
I learned a lot there. I learned a lot about survey, layout, how to use electronic guns. Actually how to run a piece of equipment, a bulldozer or a backhoe.
Okay, thank you. I'm all set.
What's that? John, in 5 years, right, if you were to get this position, where do you see yourself? I know you don't see yourself on the trash truck for 5 years.
Patching, repairing, and plowing the streets.
Okay.
As a foreman, I doubt it.
Okay.
I mean, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't,
Why do you doubt it?
huh?
Why do you doubt it?
There's a lot of people in front of me, I'm sure.
Okay. But if you were to have that opportunity, what would you bring to the table?
What would it bring?
If you had that opportunity, what would you bring to the table? What, specifically?
Leadership,
Okay.
try to get some continuity.
Okay. Alrighty. And how would you handle a conflicting situation within the department if you had a situation with somebody that you just weren't getting along for some reason, just conflict? How would you handle it?
First, try and sit them down and talk to them.
Okay. Okay.
And if that can't be done, then I suppose you're going to have to go up over his head somewhere.
Okay. All right. And you said you were trained in the OSHA training there? Huh?
Yeah,
Okay. How long is that course?
40 hours.
40 hours? Are you still,
10-hour reviews.
and that's updated and everything?
Yeah.
Fine. How would you apply that in the department?
Oh, just general safety. Safety is a part of the job. Safety is the job.
That's all I have. Any questions, Chris?
No,
You, sir?
no.
John, is there anything else you want to add or clarify, or?
Is there anything that needs to be clarified?
I don't know. Tell me. You tell me.
You come with a worth of knowledge, I know that from your
Thank you.
resume.
Thank you.
I know your work ethic.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you for your
Just
interest.
remember one more question.
Sure, go for it.
You mentioned that maybe you could help, others in the department, right?
Yeah.
How would you do that?
Well, if I see something that I've worked with before, and someone's unfamiliar with it, I can easily explain it to them. You see a pipe in the ground, and say, well, it's a belt joint,
Mhm.
and this is how I usually fix them. this is what we use to fix them. You know, just to help someone who doesn't know.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
I never know if he's still more? Do we have
Two
more?
more, right?
We just...
Seed.
Hey, how you doing? Kevin, right?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome, thank you for coming. And Kevin, we're gonna give you an opportunity to tell us why you want the position, why you think you're qualified for the position. Then we're gonna ask you some questions, and then we'll give you another opportunity to add or, you know, clarify or present, or just tell us, you know, if you forgot something, let us know. Okay? So with that being said, why do you think you're qualified, and why should we hire you for this position?
I've worked in construction for over 25 years. That's my forte right there.
Okay.
I know the construction field.
Okay. Specifically in construction, what have you done? Just like houses or
Iron working, heavy construction.
heavy construction? Bobby, any questions?
Yeah, Kevin, can you give us a description of a general day where you work, where you're building a bridge, you're putting in guardrails? Give the board a scope of what you do for a living right now, currently.
Okay, they starts at 7 o'clock. Whatever you start, say you're starting with a bridge, you make sure you have all your materials and all your equipment ready so that you can put it all, do what you have to do within a day's time. Same thing with a building or any other, if you're doing reinforcing work, you make sure you have all the materials there, the manpower.
You're a certified welder,
Yes.
so you can weld anything. You could fix a bumper on a truck if something broke over there and they needed somebody to spit in right away. You could do something like that. Do you hold any other licenses?
I have a OSHA 10-hour safety course.
Any CDL or anything like that?
I
Any of
don't
the
have
hazmats
CDL,
or that?
no. I have the hydraulic lifts and
You do,
hoists.
okay. That's good. You wouldn't have an issue going to get a CDL?
No,
Great. Thanks a lot.
thank you.
Sergeant Mazzillo?
How long have you been at your other job for, Kevin? A while, right?
20 years, yes.
What's the reason for leaving, and why all of a sudden the change?
Well, it's the type of work that when the work is there, it's great, but when it's not, it's kind of feast or famine, you know?
Okay. And is this, how long do you think you see yourself working for the town? I mean, is this,
Still in retirement.
yeah, you'd be here until you retire, you think? Okay. Good, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Sergeant Montero?
Hey, Kevin,
Hey, Joe.
what are the greatest strengths that you would bring to the department?
My personality, my workmanship.
Okay, so what would the greatest weakness you bring be?
I don't know if I have any.
Okay. That's all I have. Very good.
Public speaking.
Oh, okay. Except for public speaking. That's okay. Not everyone's good at that. I'm all set.
You all set?
Yes.
Tom?
Okay. Hi.
How you doing?
Good, thanks. You talked about, like when you worked on a bridge project, you had to organize materials and bring them to the job site. Could you describe any situation where you brought the materials and you didn't have the right, material to start the job, and you had guys that you had to get going to work?
They have those walkie-talkie things, you say, hey, we need this now.
Okay.
It's pretty much, the company, goes back to the shop, and whatever's supposed to be there is there, and if it's not, then they go back and they have to, whether they have to order it, or make it up right there.
Okay. So if you had a situation where you had to deal with a difficult employee, and how did you handle that?
Well, it's just like, dealing with anybody, you gotta know how to treat the situation, if you wear the kid gloves or, and try to work through it.
Okay. And if it got out of hand, what would you do?
What would I do? I'd walk away.
So, we know you described your current job as a feast or famine, but what did you like about the job, what it was?
I like everything about it. Good job.
Is there anything you
20 years.
Anything you disliked about it?
Not working when it rains, you get holidays and stuff like that. No work, no pay.
Is there what types of things bother you or prevent you from, being productive on the job site?
Nothing.
All right, I'm all set. Thank you.
Yes, Kevin, where do you see yourself in 5 years if you were to be hired within the department?
Moving through the ranks.
Okay. To be more specific as to where within the ranks, water department, cemetery department,
Yeah, all the, whatever, I'm not sure what the scope of the positions are. Absolutely. I'd like to find myself in the water department or off the back of the trash truck.
Yeah. That's the first one. That's the first
Never had anyone that said they wanted to stay there.
Yeah.
Kevin Sargent, he loved it there. Louis Poltoric, God bless them.
Yeah.
God bless their hearts. They loved it.
Okay. You mentioned something about OSHA training you had 10 hours of the course or something? There was a course you took for OSHA, you said?
10-hour course, yes.
What was it, do you know?
It was all safety.
It's a safety course?
Yeah,
Like safety like what?
on the job site.
Okay.
Actually, it go beyond, driving and stuff like that, but it was.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, did you say you were still working or not working?
Yes, I'm still working.
And you understand what the rate of pay is, right?
Yes.
Right. Chris, you have any questions? Do you have anything else you want to add, Kevin, or clarify?
I'm all set.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for
Appreciate it.
having me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Last is best, right?
Sylvia.
Hi, Craig.
Craig, how you doing?
How are you?
Good, thank you. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you an opportunity to tell us why you're interested in the position, why you think you'd be qualified for the position. Then we're going to ask you a series of questions, okay? And then once we do that, we're going to give you another opportunity to clarify or answer something you may have forgotten or something you want to add or something you want to take away from, okay? So with that being said, tell us why you're interested in the position for DPW.
Interested in the position because I'm looking for a full-time, steady job with regular hours where I can get licenses and hopefully move on. And my last job, I received my CEO permit. I got OSHA trained, high-space trained in electrical awareness classes.
Okay, nice.
That's
So what was your last job? I'm sorry. Okay, you had a minute.
Well, right now, I'm working for the school, but before that, I worked for Technical Drone Services.
Okay.
So,
So you got regular hours at the school, right?
I'm sorry.
You got regular hours at the school?
Yeah, right. I stopped, I gave my notice at the drilling because of it's long days and travel.
Okay. Okay, Selectman Pasquale?
Craig, can you give me a description of your current construction experience? Give us what you're doing at the school now. I know you're in charge of the grounds, it's seasonal, but could you give us a synopsis of what the day-to-day duties are and how it would relate to the DPW?
Yeah, we, throughout the day, we do all the maintenance on the grounds, cut the grass, trim bushes, repair things if we need some stuff repaired, weed whackers, all basic landscaping stuff. Take care of the fields. That's all it.
Okay, and with your past experience at TDS, could you let my colleagues know what that work was involved?
That was physical labor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Heavy lifting, it was a lot of hours. It was no breaks during the day. It was constant work all day.
Fun.
Thanks.
Selectman Bazilla?
Craig, you've applied here before, right?
Yeah.
For this job? So I'm assuming you're interested in the town of Clinton, but do you think your stay would be lengthy, or are you looking just
Yeah.
for a stepping stone, or?
No, I can see myself here for. I don't see any real opportunities to get benefits like this, and days are right, I guess, and
Good.
steady hours I like. No travel.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Selectman Carroll?
Hi, Craig.
Like,
So what are the greatest strengths you bring to this department?
I've been working on my own. When I was at drilling, it was basically you do what you have to do. We're not under anyone's control. And I guess I'm a hard worker. I've been told I'm a hard worker. Take direction too. If people need stuff done, they tell me to do it and follow orders.
Okay, and then what would your greatest weakness be?
I don't think I have one. No, I'm just kidding. Not sure. Getting up early in the morning.
You'd have to overcome that one.
And
Quickly.
At least that didn't answer.
The older you get, the easier it seems to be. It's trouble sleeping in the morning instead of...
A for honesty, though. Yeah, yeah.
I could sleep all night, all day.
Did you say you had any licenses or
I have my CEO permit.
CBL permit? Okay.
Interested in getting hoisting.
Excuse me?
I'm interested in getting my hoisting and hydraulic licenses.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Tony?
Hi, Craig. At TDS, you mentioned there was a lot of physical labor, no breaks, and constant work. I don't know what you're envisioning working for Mr. McGowan, but you know,
No,
it's gonna be
I understand it's going to be work, but it's just long days, like 12-hour days, a lot of traveling. And got old real fast. There's a lot of travel, a lot of long hours.
Okay.
The work was, I did it for 3 years. It was, could handle it. Just no opportunity to move up either.
What can you do for us that you feel someone else can't do?
I can do anything I'm pretty much asked to do. I can work hard, do overtime, DPW do overtime, pretty much do whatever I'm asked to do.
What do you feel is the most difficult situation you have faced on the job?
My current job,
Sure, your current job.
not really sure.
Line in the fields for the football games.
I guess, yeah, if you mess that
That's
up,
most
a lot of people
important.
notice.
Mr. Gall will be after you if you could do that crooked.
At TDS, it was the biggest, sorry, can you repeat the question?
I guess I was just trying to see what was the biggest challenge or difficult situation that you faced?
Oh, for drilling would be dealing with clients because they don't realize what the work's like and they just keep adding on work and adding on more work. they don't really understand how hard you're actually working to get what you've done. Now we're hard to that job.
Okay, Craig, where do you see yourself in 5 years in the department?
Hopefully, with the licenses that I want to get, hopefully I have those. And hopefully higher than the current position I'm applying for. I'd like to move up.
Right. But where do you see yourself?
Still in Clinton.
No, in the DPW, just like water department, the cemetery, you know, being a foreman. I mean, what do you? I know you don't want to be on a trash truck the rest of your life. I know that.
I don't know. It's fun riding the truck. No, I see myself in water department.
Okay.
I've done plumbing. Seems like it's something different to do.
Right. So have you thought about how you would get there?
Basically, just anything I'm asked to do, just try to apply for more licenses and just show that I'm committed to the job.
Okay. And how would you handle conflict within the department? For example, let's say you had a peer that you were working with, and you would just get conflicting. You're tasked to do a job, and you're doing all the work, and this person isn't. How would you handle that?
First, I would hand it between me and the individual and just ask him for help. And if he just couldn't help me or anything, I'd go to the boss and have people higher up handle the problem.
Okay. Righty. And you said you got your permit for your CDL. When did you get that CDL permit? How long ago?
I think 8 months ago.
About 8 months ago? So how much further before you think you'll have the CDL license?
I just need a truck to practice on.
Okay. So that would mean...
I have experience driving. From my last job, I have experience. But
Okay.
I just haven't had time to take the truck to take the test.
Okay. Okay. And working on the trash truck, right? What do you think are the major responsibilities? I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but there are responsibilities. What do you think the responsibilities are working on that trash truck?
Just show up every day, make sure you're doing your job, make sure the trash bags have trash stickers.
Okay, that's a good answer. A very good answer.
I like that.
That's a very good answer.
Some people don't always do that.
Right.
Just make sure that
Everybody
you're
does
doing what you've
that.
been asked to do.
I'm sorry.
Just to make sure you're doing what you've been asked to do.
Okay.
Could I ask one more, Mr.
Yes, you
Chairman?
may.
Just because I'm ignorant of this. How long is the CDL permit good for?
2 years.
Oh, it's 2 years, okay. That's it, thank you.
But you're not going to take 2 years, right? Okay. Trying to think what else. Now, on the ground, I want to go back to the groundkeeper. What exactly did you do again?
We used to do all the landscaping, basically cut the grass and weed whack and do the football field, we'd take care of the baseball fields,
Okay.
take the trash out, just do all the maintenance around the schools.
Okay. And maintenance, like just cut the grass and stuff, basically?
Yeah, and like fix the fences, we line the fields.
Okay. Okay. Did you work at all with the sprinkler systems at all?
I haven't done that there yet. No.
All right. I don't have any other questions. Chris, have any
Could I
questions?
ask one more?
Yes, you can ask another one.
Snow removal at all?
Not yet, I haven't been there for a year. But
No.
at TDS, I did plowing for our parking lot.
Oh, you did? Okay, that's it, at once.
All right, you can ask. Questions are good. Chris, you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Craig, you want to add anything else or clarify anything?
No, thanks. Thank you guys for your time and I appreciate an opportunity to work for the town.
Well, thank you for coming in and talking to us.
Thank you for working for the town. You are a town employee.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Craig.
Mr. Chairman, before we go any further, could I ask for a recess?
Make a motion?
I'll make a motion for a quick 5-minute recess.
Second that.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? There's a lot of qualified candidates, a lot of experience and a lot of new blood, so to speak. It's a tough thing. What I would like to do, if the board agrees, to continue with some of the old and new business. And I'd like to be afforded some time to at least think about it for the rest, a couple more minutes. Sure. Or take another recess, either or, one way or the other. But it's a tough choice, and I just really want to work it out in my mind as to how I'm going to throw a vote. It's going to be a hard one.
Do you want to do a recess and just wait a couple more minutes before we get into
Pleasure
other
of the board,
stuff?
yeah. Everybody ready, or?
I'm ready, I mean,
You're ready, right?
I'm either way.
You're ready?
Either way,
Yeah.
I'm
You
ready.
guys ready? Okay. If I can just get 2 more minutes, at least 2 more minutes, I gotta do some math.
Do you want a motion?
Let's continue the recess then.
Yeah, can we do that?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to continue the recess.
Okay.
I'll second.
Any discussion? No, we're back in.
Aye.
Back in the back into open meeting for the DPW hires for 4 laborers for the trash truck.
Oh, there's 4?
There's 4 positions.
I thought there's 3, I'm sorry.
4 positions. I said earlier, well, we can open it up the nominations. And I'll start to my right.
Are we gonna do one at a time, or?
I think we should probably just not do all the nominations, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay. If Mike wants to keep track, 'cause I think it's gonna be tighter than anything. Okay. Open up the floor to nominations. Any nominations?
Sure, I'm ready.
Okay.
I'd like to nominate John Costello for one of the positions.
Okay. Any other nominations?
I'd like, oh, go ahead. You go. I'd like to nominate Mr. Coombs.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Coolis.
Cools.
I'd like to nominate Kevin Seed.
I would nominate Peter Notaro.
I'd like to nominate John O'Malley.
Any other nominations?
Oh, Costello. Okay.
No other nominations? I would like to nominate Goodmanson. Step down. So I'm stepping down. Do it, nominate.
Yep. Goodmanson?
Yeah.
And I'd like to,
Oh,
sorry.
Okay.
Do you have another one, Steve?
Yeah. Santiago. Alex Santiago.
Who?
Alex.
Oh,
Mercado, I'm sorry.
Mercado?
Okay, I was going to nominate him.
Yeah. No, another Alex, it's fine.
So did we miss anyone?
Yeah, right?
Somebody else had another nomination?
No, I
No,
was
he
going
was
to
gonna
nominate
do
Alex.
Mercado. We're all set.
'Cause I have
7
another
out of
one.
8. All 8, well,
I'd like to nominate Craig Silver.
Craig Silver, yeah. So it's all 8.
So we have, no, that's 6 nominations.
No, that's 8.
That's
Oh, we
8.
get 8.
Get all 8.
Everyone's winning.
John?
Can you do the last?
Costello, Seed, Coolis, Notaro, O'Malley, Goodmanson, Mercado, and Silvio.
Say again? John? Costello?
Costello,
C.
Seed, Coolis, Notaro, O'Malley, Goodmanson, Mercado, and
Mercado,
Silvio.
Silvio.
2,
All of them.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah.
Well, that one worked out all right.
So we'll go down the line then.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody's there.
Yeah.
Okay,
I make a motion, we close nominations.
okay,
Second.
second.
There's 8 nominees.
I know, but for formality reasons, we should, parliamentary procedure.
The only-
I hear the town solicitor whispering over here.
Under discussion, just a second, you have a second?
I second it, yeah.
Under discussion now, all these hires, condition that we're gonna check out applications to ensure that, you know, everything's where it should be, you know, licenses and things of that
Yeah, I
nature.
was going to say that.
Oh, okay.
I will echo what the chairman has just requested, that under discussion, I would like to start making sure that subject to hire, we verify all applications, that they are actual true attests and everything is accurate.
So that's a condition that we have.
It's a condition of employment I'd like to see us follow.
Okay. All right. Okay, with that being said, we got 8 candidates and everything, 8 people that we're going to get nominated. Okay. Should be interesting.
This is great. Good.
Okay, so we'll start with, we'll go backwards, just for the sake of going backwards. Okay.
We should probably go.
Oh, yeah.
in order.
How do you want it? What do you want in order?
Go in order.
Okay, as nominated. Okay, incorrected. Okay. All in favor of John Costello for DPW position?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
So that's 4. And 1 nay. Okay. So John Costello has 1 nomination.
So he's one, right?
Right, he's going.
He's got it? Okay.
He's got it because it's 4 to 1.
Okay.
All in favor for Mr. Coolis?
Aye.
Aye.
So that's 4.
One nay, I nayed.
So that's
4.
4-1. I'm 4, nay. So
That's Coolis,
4
right?
for Coolis.
For Coolis.
4, nay, 4, 4, 4.
So it's 4 to 1.
4 to
I'm
1.
nay.
Okay. For Kevin Seed?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that's 1 nay. Okay.
So that's 4 to
So
1.
that's 4-1. For Pino Notaro? Aye.
Aye.
No.
Okay, signify by raising hands. Peter Notaro?
I abstain.
You can't abstain.
I'm abstaining.
It's going to be a tie vote. You participate in the process. Solicitor, can we defer to you or the... I mean, I guess he can do that, but I guess I'm just concerned that you went through the whole process.
So 2-2 would be a no.
Interviewed and
It would be a no.
2-2 is just a no, that's all.
Okay. You should have been interviewed. Okay.
So
But
2,
O'Malley was before Notaro.
no, he
No,
wasn't.
he wasn't.
No, he wasn't. No.
Okay, sorry.
So
Or was
2-2.
he? Maybe he was. Could have been.
Yeah, he was. O'Malley was before Notaro.
Was it? Did you?
I got
I
him
nominated O'Malley.
after
Oh,
I did
okay.
Notaro. I
Okay.
got him right here.
Okay,
Notaro
I
was...
swapped it.
That's what I thought. I don't know.
No problem.
Okay. All in favor for John O'Malley?
Aye.
Okay, so that's 5. That's unanimous. Signify by raising hands for O'Malley. That makes it a little easier for... Okay, so we have 3 other positions.
That's
Well,
4
it
now.
was 2-2. It was
2-2 would be a
So what do we
no.
do there?
So it's a no vote.
It's a no vote, right?
Yeah. So that would be 4 right there, right?
Right. That's that 4?
That's 4
That's
slots.
4 right there.
Congratulations to
Yeah,
all.
so, hold on, Bob.
Do we...
How's the vote, Lisa? Yeah, that's 4, right? John Costello, Coolis, Seed,
And John O'Malley.
O'Malley.
Right, so when you get to vote on the other ones.
Do we not vote on the other ones?
I
No?
think maybe we should make, vote for an alternate,
Alternate? I'd like to do that.
just in case, somebody doesn't pan out, somebody decides they don't want to accept the position. Maybe we should do 2, so we don't have to be doing this whole process again. So next, for Goodmanson, was that the last one, next one on the list? That's what I
Yep,
have.
Goodmanson is next, yeah.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So that's 3? In nay, any
3,
nays?
yep. I'm an A for Goodmanson.
Nay, so that's 3
3 to
to
2.
For Alex Mercado?
Aye.
Aye. So how many is that? Raise your hands.
3 to
Alex
2.
Mercado?
3 to 2.
3 to 2 also?
So that's it.
Okay. Well, what do we do? If
Do
you,
you want to just make them all 3 alternates?
Yeah, we could do that. It'll save Chris down the long run if somebody backs out.
We're going to leave Sylvia Waddle.
right, the question is I have that we have 2 ties and we have 1 that we haven't voted on.
Yeah, right.
So how would that work? I'm not sure. Is it who gets more votes?
No, actually, Steve, I think.
I think that's it, too.
Right, I think if you wanted the first one that you voted for as an alternate, you got 3 votes, so he would be the alternate.
Right.
Alex Mercado or Chad Goodmanson
No,
be the
you
alternate.
voted on Goodmanson
First,
first.
yeah.
Yeah, Goodmanson first.
Okay.
You got a majority of votes.
You got 3 to 2, right? So we want to do 1 alternate or 2 alternates?
I'd like to
2 would
do
be nice.
2.
That's what I thought we were going to do is 2.
I'll agree to 2.
3 to 2 as well, so.
So that Mercado was 3 to 2 as well, so he'd be the other alternate.
Okay,
So he was out.
okay. All right, so that's it. So, first 4 and 2 alternates, Alex
So-
Mercado and
Just to
Mr.
be
Goodmanson.
clear, it was Costello, Coolis, Seed, and O'Malley.
O'Malley.
And then Goodman and Mercado are the,
Just make sure that the order
Mercado's
is
vote.
clarified.
Right.
okay.
The order,
Goodmanson was before Mercado.
How is it?
no, not on that.
Oh, okay.
There's much as the positions, because that is what,
Yeah, when,
according to their contract, that's what
right.
determines.
Yeah, when costs, Michael, it went Costello,
So that is-
Coolis,
no, I was gonna ask
Seed,
that
and
question.
O'Malley, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Stephen, who are the two main roads for the town?
These two.
Yeah.
No, I abstain.
No, the
No,
two
one
ends.
abstention.
The two ends.
Abstention.
Right, and then he abstained, and me and you were
Right.
yeses.
Yes, yes.
No,
Nay,
no.
nay, abstention.
Abstention, right.
Okay. Anything else?
And you were the nay on Costello.
Yes.
It's too bad about Silvio.
Yeah. I agree. Okay. That being said, congratulations to the people that made it. And, unfortunately, we had a lot of good candidates, but we can't hire all of them, unfortunately.
Obviously, we had
But-
8.
But we had, I think at some point in time, though, I think we need to start thinking about, we're getting a lot of candidates, and I think we need to start perhaps making a CDL license a requirement prior to getting a position with the DPW. And that would shut down on all the candidates, because,
That'd be up to them.
you know, so that's something we can discuss at a later date, but that's something, I'm throwing it out there because I think it's something we need to think
Cut it
about.
down.
Right, so, we'll definitely cut it down, you know, and if people want to do it, they should start thinking about that, so. All right.
Yeah.
With that being said, the next order of business is, Mike, you want to do administrative business, is that what we're doing next?
The next was the Public Works report for the period September of '06.
What is it? Oh, the,
The superintendent was here if there was any questions, and then there was another item that the board wanted to discuss about the water rate board. So the superintendent was going to stay and talk about that, so if we can pick up that issue before the meeting.
I would just like an update, Michael, on where we are with the light fixture down on High Street.
Right, why don't we bring them in over here?
all right. Do you want me to make a motion to accept the monthly report?
So moved.
Yeah, you can do that.
Get that out of the way.
So, a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion that we accept the Public Works monthly report as presented.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on it?
I was hoping we could ask Mr. McGowan some questions.
Okay, you can do that. So, here you go.
Yeah, this is regarding the monthly report.
On the discussion.
On the gas tanks, do you know if the chief of police, is his force using that?
Yes, yeah, everyone's using it, back using it again. We haven't had any issues since we did the scouring of the inside of the tank, so
So that took
we're
care of
back on track, yes, it did, yeah. Matter of fact, I got a call a couple weeks ago from the superintendent in Lunenburg, going
problem?
through the exact same thing. It's mostly police cars, mostly because the police cars use so much fuel, more than everybody else, so they're getting more of it into the injectors, so, but he's having the exact same problem, so he was not happy that we had the problem, but at least happy we could offer some experience and kind of fix it.
Is that something new that's happening
Yeah,
lately?
yeah.
With
It's ethanol in the fuel, 10%
So the
ethanol in
ethanol.
fuel, and it's a super detergent.
Right.
You know, in the long run, it's good, because it actually keep your motor a lot cleaner, keep everything much cleaner inside your car, but in the short run, it's cleaning out stuff that's in there and causing problems. But in our case, it cleaned out the inside of our fuel tank, and that's where our problems arose, so.
Now, do we think we foresee any problems down the road because of that? Or?
I don't see any problems with that. Again, the next problem we got is what they're calling a super low sulfur diesel. So I haven't gotten the exact word on what we need to do in preparation for that, or when we're going to start getting the super low sulfur. They went maybe 10 years ago to a low sulfur, and now they're going to what's called a super low sulfur, and it's, from what I'm hearing, it could be worse, so we need to be prepared for it. So, but, we will be. We'll be prepared before we get it. So
That's good then.
and this we just didn't know.
It's funny all this stuff is happening, and no one ever, because we never had any issues like that before.
Yeah, it's all pretty much to lessen the stranglehold of the fuel oil. So
that's what it is.
It's just a bad thing, but and it burns a lot cleaner. I mean, it burns basically clean. So.
Any other questions on?
Actually, on High Street, when that project's done, is that going to be repaved this year or no? I don't remember the answer. No? Or is it going to be?
Well, what's going to happen is the trenches on High Street, where the water pipe went down, will be widened, straightened, and a binder and top course of pavement 4 inches of mix will get put down. So everything on High Street will be smoothed back to.
Okay.
It's not gonna be in as good a shape as it was, but it'll be basically a smooth road again, so. So High Street will be in much better shape. To do that on School in Church Street, in my opinion, Union will be the same, we'll do the same thing. To do it on School and Church is throwing money down the drain because the road is so far gone
Yeah.
before we even started this project that it's not worth doing that. We need to just rebuild those two roads,
Yeah.
which won't happen this year, but it will happen. My plan is to get those done next year because they're just, well, it makes sense to do them now. We don't, the utilities are fixed, so it certainly makes sense to do it. But I'm not gonna throw money away patching the middle of those roads when the rest of it is all falling apart. It
Doesn't make sense to do that.
High Street.
High Street will be in better shape when we're done. As soon as we get through there, it's, a lot of work on High Street, so it's taking a beating, but we'll get it back before winter before Thanksgiving, we'll get it back to being in good shape.
See, but it's the kind of like we did with Main Street last year, right? Could get it ready, but that'll be one coat. Next year gets another
Well,
coat?
no, because we'll do something a little bit different on High Street. Eventually, when we do have the money and we do pave High Street, what we'll do is we'll grind the gutters down to keep the curb reveal. We really can't pulverize the entire road like we've done Main Street because
The circle.
no, not even the circle. There's concrete underneath the asphalt from 100 years ago. There's a 4-inch slab, so really what we would do is grind down on the edges and feather it up and then overlay probably a 2 to 2.5 inch overlay over the top of it so we keep the curb reveal. Like a lot of the mistakes they've made in town is they keep overlaying it without grinding the edges down, so you lose the curb. But if all you really have to do is grind that edge down by however much you're gonna add, and you don't lose the reveal on the curb. And that's what we'll do. We plan on doing there. It'll bring the crown of the road up a little, but it's such a wide road that you'd never notice it happened. So,
Chris, on the lights down there, where are we with
the
regards
lights,
to
the
fixing that?
conduit, what happened down there is the conduit, there's a curb, the curbs are about this deep.
Right.
There's a massive blob of concrete in front of the curb, and they cast the conduit for the light poles in with the curbing. So there was no way to get the curbing out without ripping out all the concrete.
Is that common practice? Do that?
No,
I didn't think
it's
so.
not at all common.
So whoever did that last time did it incorrectly.
Yeah, the last time they did it, and it made sense, they needed to get lights in there, and instead of having two operations, while they had the curb dug, they set the curb, they put the conduit in, and poured concrete, because you have to pour concrete in front of the curb so it doesn't get knocked over, and they poured the pipe in with it. Certainly not common at all. I've never seen it, but it is what it is. So there's no way, the curbing on that side of the road was a disaster. There was no way we could have poured sidewalks and leave the curbing in. So we had to yank all that out. That's in the process of getting put back in, and I'm hoping by Friday we have all the conduit back in. And I've had several meetings with Mass Electric, and as soon as we're done with getting that conduit in, I'm going to push them, and I can't tell you a day on what day Mass Electric will get there, but they're committed to get in there.
The problem is
they're very committed to getting it done. So.
The current situation, I've been made aware of unsafe conditions down there, and I didn't know that there was a problem until the other night when I was walking in the park, and a couple of elderly women coming from the Navina complained to me about how dark it is down there.
It is dark.
Is there anything we can do to...
I know you can't give us a date, but exactly.
No, I'm thinking within a couple of weeks it'll be back on. I mean, I don't know. I don't have budget to put temporary lights in there. I don't know how I could do that.
Well, I'm wondering,
You'd have to
can the
strip-
emergency management people run those lights at night, Chris, just until 11 o'clock? I mean, to the people running businesses down there, I feel bad for Peppercolis because one gentleman told me they're losing $300 a day in business because they are not able to attract customers because of the darkness. The darkness goes all the way down.
Yeah,
And
it's all the
people
way
are
down.
afraid
I
to
don't know
use
what
the
kind of
store.
lights- I don't know what kind of lights. Usually what they have is like a truck-mounted,
Well, they do the
very
football
high
games.
fluorescent
Yeah.
floodlights. Are they high? I mean, you need high lights.
I don't know.
If
There's a
they're
couple
high-
of guys in the audience. I don't know.
If there are high lights and somebody wants to park there till 1 o'clock in the morning, I suppose that could be, if they could. I don't think low lights is the answer, because somebody comes out of Papacolis's, gets blinded by these low lights flashing in front of them and trips over.
The Oxford
Because
Court
they gotta
tenants-
watch where they're going.
Oxford Court tenants are trying to leave their lights on, but Ed's not doing it down there. It's really dark, and
No question, yeah.
it's creating a dangerous atmosphere for our town and the people that live down there.
When's daylight savings? That'll help a little
When the
bit.
lights come on, actually, another week and a half.
Won't help much.
I don't know what kind of light emergency management, or if they have the resources to,
I know they light up the road for the football games. I don't know, Dino's in the audience, I don't know if, can that be done, Dino?
Yeah, you can set up a light maybe at the intersection of Prospect and High.
To help take that dark, it's really dark after you get past the storefronts, it's really dark.
But that runs off a generator, right?
Yeah, it's generated.
How loud is it? Okay, how loud is that generator? Because I don't be getting complaints from people that they can't sleep because the generator's cranking all night.
I wouldn't run it much past 10 or 11 o'clock. I mean, most businesses are closed by then anyway on High Street.
Right.
do you know how high it is, the light?
Well, communities, 12 feet. Yeah,
12
shining
feet.
down onto a person, doesn't shine across the street.
I'm just picturing these truck-mounted floodlights,
Yeah.
you know?
We kind of make
They
it.
go up on poles, I know, at the football
You
game.
can make it indirect lighting, kind of,
Yeah.
so you're taking the darkness out of the intersection.
Well, they don't have power until we get the conduit back in. There's no power. There's no way to get power to those lights, so. I mean, they have a generator, but they have nothing to hook it to because the wires are all gone. There's no wires to the poles.
Right.
That's what our problem is. I suppose if emergency management has the resources to park, we could just leave it there. We don't need to take it out of there. We might have to move it because we're working in the area.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking for the nighttime hours, I feel bad, it's a little mom and pop business, and, you know, people are stopping me on the street as I'm walking, and,
Oh, it's an inconvenience. Anytime you do a
It
big
is, and it's a
construction
safety issue,
project,
too.
Yeah, it's that too.
It's inconvenience for everybody.
And
It's not-
anytime you do a project like this, it's gonna be,
Right.
there's no way to make a project where you rip sidewalks
Right.
out from in front of their house, their building.
Well, the bottom line was that whoever did it the first time, did it the way they shouldn't have done it. And I was suffering a consequence from,
Yeah, we're not suffering I mean, suppose, the
Yeah.
lights being out, we're suffering the consequence, but it's typical. I mean, we've run into other things in this project that I never dreamed we would have run into.
Yeah.
Stairs underneath the sidewalk that we're very lucky didn't collapse years
Right.
ago.
Right.
Literally.
some-
A big, huge hole right under
Yeah.
the sidewalk was held up by little pieces of plywood and 2x4s, the whole sidewalk.
so the question is,
Entire building.
how fast National Grid can help?
I'm hoping by the end of the week, I'm hoping we have the conduit in the ground.
Yeah,
And that is, we're relying on one subcontractor that we're gonna need, but they've said they're gonna be there tomorrow.
okay.
So by the end of the week, I hope we have all the conduit in. We can call Mass Electric and say, come and pull the wire. How quick they come in,
What
I
can
mean,
we,
they're committed, they know about it, and
Carlo Center Day.
they're ready to go, but I can't tell you if they're gonna come one day, the next day, or the next day, because they, until
Mike,
we have
anything-
conduit in, they're not gonna.
anything we can do to expedite that process? You know anybody over there, National Grid or anything?
Oh, I've met with them, they're on
Okay.
board.
They're on board?
They can't schedule it until we have the conduit in, so they're waiting on us. I mean, I've met with them several times on the job, and they're on board. Anytime we call them, because they inspected underground, and we call them, and they're out immediately, they've been fine. I mean, we haven't had they haven't slowed anything down whatsoever, so they're working with us. I'll get with the emergency management and see
Well,
if we could,
I'm concerned with not only Pepicola's, Dr. Getz's office is down there, Jack's is there, and you've got the
senior
Barlow
center,
Center.
there's a lot of.
You know, with daylight
They're closed
savings
at
time-
night. They're not open as much. at
No,
night.
but still, you
EAA
know,
center is
right.
difficult, there's a lot of people in there that are in and out, especially at night.
I mean, the other thing we can do is we can increase patrol and talk to Chief Levenger, say, look, see if we can, you know. send
But
a
if,
crew.
like Dino said, if emergency management could park on the corner of Prospect and High and just do it like from 5 to 10, that at least is giving some sound safety down there.
Yeah, they can get fuel from the DPW, it's not like,
Yeah, it's diesel generator.
Right. We can do that.
That'd be wonderful.
Is that something that can be covered under insurance or something?
Bless you.
Bless you.
It's not really insurance, it's just part of construction,
Yeah, it's part of the deal, right?
Contingency spending, you can't plan for everything.
Right.
There's always something when you open it
Yeah.
up.
So I still have some more
Go ahead.
questions on that.
Go ahead.
Did you get around to there was going to be some jar testing of that potassium?
I don't have results yet, but the jar testing is in process. They're not complete with it yet. My guess is I'll have everything back by the end of next week. I should have everything back, and hopefully with any luck, within a week after that, we can implement it.
Okay. Now, do you see the cost of this program versus the chlorination? Is it the same, or?
I don't have a price yet on the potassium permanganate, so I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you if it's going to be the same. I would say it's probably going to be similar. It's probably going to be a similar cost. You know, we're adding in one chemical instead of another. I don't think it's going to be a huge difference in cost. It's material basically, and I have no idea how much potassium permanganate we have to add in yet compared to how much chlorine we're adding in. And the process of injecting it is very similar. It's just a pump versus a pump. The electricity is very similar. So it's just a matter of we don't know how much we have to put in yet until these tests are done.
Okay, so none of the existing equipment has to change or be upgraded to support?
We're actually going to use equipment that we had in place under a previous operation that is abandoned in place right now. We didn't take it out just in case we ever needed it, and looks like we need it. So, so yeah, it's equipment that we already own that's basically not going to be used under the new scenario with the filtration plant, which was great that we had it, but so we'll be putting it to use.
Okay, and the results of the jar testing will tell us how much material?
How much we need to add in. And then what we'll do is we'll slowly reduce the amount of chlorine we're putting in, and watch the performance of the filters. It's basically, the reason why we're chlorinating is it's really got nothing to do with disinfection. It's more, it has to do with the performance of the filters. So as we put the potassium permanganate in, we'll slowly reduce the chlorine so we don't lose the filters, slowly reduce it and watch the filters, watch the filter run time and how efficient they're running. And, keep lowering it until, we're either down to 0 or down to where it starts affecting the process. And every bit we drop it is going to help our situation with the haloacidic acid. So every little bit that we can drop the chlorine prior to the filters is help. Wow.
Thank you.
Basically, what the potassium permanganate is, it allows the filters to operate without chlorine, is what it does. It oxidizes the organics so that they are allowed to filter out and they won't grow and clog up the filters. So, with any luck, within 3 weeks, we should definitely be injecting that stuff.
How are we on the monument process?
I called actually today. I haven't gotten a call back because I found a sign company. They got a few ideas. They're going to put a color paper together of what the sign will look like. And I had told him I wanted it for this meeting, but I don't have it. He didn't call me back.
And we don't have a price factor yet?
A price for the...
for the cost?
For the sign?
Yeah.
No, but I don't, it's not going to be unreasonable, and
it's
above
not,
that, it's necessary anyways.
Right,
Whether it's a memorial for somebody or
right,
just a sign, it's something that we need there anyway.
But it's not a cost factor of on the street someone heard $13,000.
Oh, God almighty.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
Please clarify
maybe one.
that.
Maybe one.
Street is not always.
No, I know. I'm glad you
And
clarified that.
we'll install the
Chris.
signposts ourselves and look
Right,
at much of it
of course,
as we can. But
of
no,
course.
it's not even.
Looks very nice up there right now.
Yeah, it looks good.
The ground is settled nice and the building looks nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful building.
Yeah.
Chris, I got a couple
Go
questions.
back to the old way, but hey.
Mm.
I haven't chosen.
Chris, on the overtime budget,
Yes.
overtime report you gave me, you gave us here, for the road departments, it shows we only used like 1,500. Is that pretty much, compared to like this year's, last year, is that pretty much the same?
It's
or?
probably it's lower than it
Lower?
was last year because they didn't have, this year that the work that we did, like the Chapter 90 spending we did was not as much overtime as the last year when you're really digging up an entire road. So we really didn't have a lot of that.
Okay.
And the road they don't have overtime like the water and sewer.
Right.
Water and sewer is where it is because water breaks and sewer lines plug, and that's where a lot of it is. As you can see, we've used a tremendous amount on that.
Is that more than last time, this year?
I would say, no, last year water overtime was way over, and the main reason for that was all the work we did on Main Street. A lot of that ran into overtime because you can't just stop when you're in the middle of trying to do 3 taps.
Right.
You got to work till it's finished, and that's why. And the filtration plant had a tremendous amount of overtime last year. The guys were up there a lot.
So this is better than last year, which is good.
Yeah. We're still
Got a whole lot of
got a lot of
time.
overtime, but wintertime, it'll slow down, so
That's
hopefully we'll get back. We're a little bit over where we should be right now, but during the winter, hopefully that'll come back.
But compared to last year.
Overtime, the beeper pay, the guys get paid for their beepers, that's
Right.
on the end of the overtime too.
Right.
so.
One more question. There's no workman's comp out, right? In Chapter 9, we're gonna have $100,000 left over after we get all the work done?
I'm still negotiating on the, we're working out the figure on the per ton price for the pavement. It's based on liquid asphalt, and so probably gonna be a little less than that.
But it's a fairly good number, though.
Yeah, not bad, yeah, it's somewhere in that range. And I gotta see how everything pans out down here, downtown on the sidewalk project.
So conservatively, we should have an extra 80,000.
Hopefully, yeah.
Does that include the new money, the new contract?
Yes.
That would be with the,
Yeah, because we're doing the sidewalks and, those were accounted for prior to getting that money. We did the sidewalks and we're doing the little bit of guardrail work, which is starting tomorrow. So, yeah. We did a little bit more sidewalk work on Main and Fitch than we had anticipated needing to do, but I thought it was necessary. Just they both came out great, I thought. I think they came out super, so.
How many roads can we do with 80 grand?
Depends how big they are.
And that's what I'm saying. I understand that, but that's
Probably 1,000 feet.
1,000
We'll
feet.
get more money next year.
Okay, right.
We'll get money at the beginning of next year. So that's leftover money from this year,
Right.
next year. I mean, it doesn't go anywhere near as far as it used to, because, paving, a few years ago, we were paying $30 a ton, now we're paying close to $50 a ton in place.
$50 a ton?
So, they're giving us an extra $100,000, 50% more,
But it's going in-
pavement's costing us 70% more to do, so it's not going any further than it used to.
Kind of like health insurance.
No, that's what I'm saying, because when they give you the numbers from the state,
Yeah.
they, we gave you more money, but they don't
Give us
tell you
more
that's
money.
costing you more money to do it. So
It's
it's
gonna
a
be
little deceiving.
less work done on 300 than we used to get on 200, no question. Unless, fuel prices keep coming down. Hopefully next year, the price of asphalt is down a little. This year it was very high.
So was it 50 per ton?
About $48 a ton was, we're still hammering away at it, trying to whittle it down a little bit. But
Every
it
little
was
bit counts.
literally, went from 38 to 48. And the year before that, we were in the low 30s. So 2 years, it's gone from low 30s to close to $50 a ton.
To get that Italian stuff.
What was the final, did you get that final price on the new truck that we ordered?
Body parts.
I see, you
I
said it.
don't have it on me. I don't have it with me, but I
Okay.
did order the truck, so
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. We ordered the smaller of the two. I had two numbers there.
Yeah,
It was the
and
smaller
it
of
was
the
the
two
smaller
trucks,
one?
yeah. And it was within,
Yeah.
it should be within hundreds of dollars of what
Okay.
that
so
was.
it's okay. All right. Maybe you get a better deal than I thought, no? Any other questions for the superintendent? I think, I want to thank him in the report. It's very organized and easy to read, you know what I'm saying? It's not like you decipher into numbers, it's like, broken up by departments and stuff like that, and overtime, the bullets, the things that are kind of key to look at.
Yeah.
I know it takes a lot of work to do this, so I appreciate the time and
Yeah,
effort you put into it.
It takes time to do it, but it's worthwhile.
Right.
It's, let you refresh your memory about what happened in the past month. And you get the
Exactly.
reports, I always get reports from the foreman at the end of the month, so, make sure they're keeping track of stuff and
That's good.
trying to get stuff.
It's good training for them too, we never know.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Okay, there's a motion, any other questions?
Run while you can.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor, we haven't accepted these things yet, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so that's done. Okay. So, Joe, you had something more?
Yeah, in our last meeting, they proposed establishing a water rate task force.
Sure.
Due to our having to raise the water and sewerage bills last June. I've written a proposal here as to how I'd like to see it. It's got scope, goals, composition, and some notes about it. I'd like you to be a member of it if,
Sure.
when we vote on it.
No, I think that's a great idea.
Because you have a good knowledge of what's going on there. And with the chairman's permission, I'd like to pass this out to the board and Mr. McDonald so we can maybe quickly review it.
I just keep passing this. We'll just share.
Need more copies?
No?
No, we'll just share.
I got one.
You got one, Ian?
He's got one.
Everybody has one. You got one?
Okay, good. I made enough.
You made enough.
Okay, so,
Yeah, that's good.
I can. So basically, to go over it, I mean, I'll read it in case anyone on TV wants to hear it, and hopefully we can come to some kind of a conclusion tonight with it and put this together. So what I believe the scope of it is to review, research, and report findings and policy solutions back to the Clinton Board of Selectmen with regard to a fair and equitable rate schedule for Clinton's Water and Sewerage Enterprise Fund. The board voted to raise rates significantly in June 2006 to start paying for debt service on our new filtration plant and improvements to our infrastructure. We as a board feel a responsibility to attempt to restructure rates to be as equitable as possible for all ratepayers. I hope everyone agrees with that.
That makes sense.
Makes sense?
Do I get to comment on it too?
You comment, please.
I don't, I don't know if we need to set up this task force to restructure rates. I think it's more to look at the structure we have and see if it's the best structure. I mean, basically, that sentence to me means that our structure is wrong and we need to restructure it, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I think in general, our structure is good and very similar to most communities, but it may need some tweaking. To me, that means we're restructuring the way we're going to do our water and sewer enterprise rates, and I don't at all agree that that's necessary.
The way I'm thinking of it is, okay, you may have a big apartment complex with 1 meter, okay? That piece of it needs to be restructured, changed, potentially, okay?
Potentially, right. But
And
restructuring to me, it's I just wanted to clarify that I feel
That's-
that we have a very good structure that has a few loopholes in it that maybe we could tighten up. And we have a very similar structure to what most enterprise funds are set up. And there are certainly improvements that can be made.
So why don't we change
But
it?
I don't know, you call it restructuring
Can I make
rates.
a comment on
I
that
don't know
real
if I
quick?
like that.
We're on it, because I'll forget.
Okay, go
It's-
ahead.
it's an attempt to, we have an attempt, rather, we have the responsibility to
Attempt to
review.
We wanna review the rate
and-
structure.
And restructure if necessary, you know, or something.
Yes,
or-
yeah, I mean,
what I'm
review
saying?
the rate structure, I guess, would be,
To review, because that is.
restructuring, it sounds like that the job of this task force is gonna be to throw away what we have and do a complete restructuring.
Well,
And that's just the way it reads. to me.
As I get down further, it'll be evident that
Okay.
that's not what I meant.
And again, I think it's a great idea. I like the idea. I just want to make
Have
sure
we-
we're all headed into it with the same.
Have we tossed around the idea yet of any way, shape, or form giving a lower rate to senior citizens?
Well, let Joe finish.
Okay.
Just to, you know.
Okay, so the way I see it, the goals of it are to review the current policy and suggest a solution to more equitably charge for water and sewerage if it is found to be feasible. Produce a policy document to be considered for formal adoption by the board. The policy document will outline strategies to be adopted, implementation details, and will serve as the basis for a new revision of the town's water regulations. So that would basically go into, it wouldn't be...
Would it be more for rates or for, I mean, we just did the
Yes,
town water
it would be
regulations.
a revision to the document for the rates.
Based on rates. Very
Yes,
good.
just rates.
I'm all for that.
Okay, the composition of the task force would be comprised of the DPW superintendent and 6 citizens to be appointed by the Board of Selectmen, or alternately, 1 selectman would also be a member and 5 citizens appointed, whatever the pleasure would be. I just gave a couple scenarios. Then the notes that I have at the end are, this is to be an iterative process. The task force will interact with the board anytime it either has a question, would like to prevent sections of the report for discussion, or review its findings in part or whole. The task force is encouraged to keep the lines of communication open with the board to produce the most equitable policy document possible. All avenues should be investigated, from a minimum rate for having service with a charge for water done on a per-use cost, to changing the structure or how large entities with 1 meter are charged. So there's where you get there's where I clarify that. And lastly, the task force will be dissolved when the task described here is complete.
I like that. But I would like to also I guess what I'm hearing on the street these days is we have a lot of our senior citizens that are concerned about what their water bills are going to be when they come out. And is there any wiggle room for the seniors? So I don't know if we can...
That do charge. It's legal to do it. I mean, not to speak out of turn, but a lot of communities, I don't know, maybe my guess would be in the 25% range do charge a separate
Well,
rate.
to the widow that's living in a 5, 6 room home that hasn't used any more water than she did 6 months ago, she feels penalized.
Well, that's why this particular line here is in there. It's all avenues should be investigated from a minimum rate for
Right.
the service.
Right.
Okay? So say widow, whoever has the service, she pays, $50.
Right.
And if she only uses 3 gallons of water or 3 cubic feet of water, all she's gonna pay for is 3 cubic feet of water, for an
Okay.
example. I mean, that's up to the task force to determine.
That's gonna take, and that, I've mentioned that as a method, and I think it's a good method, but just to warn everyone, that is gonna take some serious math to make sure we
Right.
don't lose revenue, because we
Exactly.
cannot lose revenue, we have a budget. So it's gonna take
Right.
some 4 to 5,000, you're gonna have to go through 4 to 5,000 accounts.
Well, exactly why I believe we need a task force to do
The only other thing is we could possibly talk to our software people and ask them if we change our, using the numbers from last year, could they change the rate structure and tell us what the revenue would be? It's a possibility, I'm not sure.
Hey, now you know why I wanted you involved.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I should, no
Could you
question.
finish, you were saying like 25% of the communities have some,
I have a they do surveys, water rate surveys and sewer rate surveys. We haven't gotten, they do them every 2 years. I haven't gotten the one from
Can you check what the town of Hudson does?
2006, FY06, they haven't finished it yet. I'm waiting on it, but we have one from a couple years back, and it says if they have senior citizens discount, if they have low-income discounts, if they, basically tells how they do their rate, how they structure their rates. And I mean, that would be, it's good information for this task force, all of that, the whole document.
I'd just like the avenue to be looked at, because a lot of people have stopped me with the rise of fuel, the rise of gas. People are worried about losing their homes, and I'd like to be able to afford them the opportunity to take that chance to look and see if, in fact, legally we could do it for them.
I think we can legally do it, it's just that for everyone that goes down, someone else has to go out.
Yeah.
We're basically based it on
Well,
revenue, and we can't go down.
Maybe
on
if we
revenue.
look at these
have a
big
budget.
places that have just 1 meter, there's a way to bring up
Well,
the
that's
cost,
good, that could,
you know?
Yeah, and this is why I believe it's an iterative process.
I think it's
too.
great.
This task force goes and looks at certain things.
Yeah.
And comes back with Chris to discuss each of this.
I'd be the first to volunteer.
Okay.
just the people who are on the board, and I don't have anyone in mind, but, math is gonna be important.
Math is gonna be critical.
All right, we need someone with a math mind out there.
Yeah.
So we get
Television land.
We get Chris.
And Chris. Mr. Math. So,
Do we need to decide what one you want to do, the 6 people or the one in the
I was just,
5?
I was just looking at that.
I'd like to do the one in the 5.
Yeah, I like
So
that.
Okay.
I think one of us should be in on that.
Yeah.
Hold on a second, yeah, 'cause I was just saying there should be at least 2, I was saying 2 selectmen.
No.
one,
Me, one
no,
selectman,
it says one.
5, right?
Right, I'm saying, I'm suggesting that we have 2.
Oh, all right, okay.
Because I think it's such an important issue that we want to have 2.
I go with that.
Okay? Because I know I'm interested in that. So something I've always been interested in, make sure that we make that happen, so.
So what would you like?
So you need to have a DPW,
Yep.
6 citizens, right?
Or 5.
Well, then you want to have an odd number, right?
Yes, you do.
So that's why I think we need to add those.
4, 2,
7.
and 1, is that what
Yeah,
you?
you don't want
Yeah,
to have
you're going to have DPW and 6, that's 7, and 2 selectmen, that's 9, right?
Okay.
That's an odd number.
I think you're getting high, then. I think you're getting awfully high.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it down to, like 7.
I think
So-
9 is
Four,
there
if you
getting
do
in.
2 selectmen, 4, what about 2, 4, and 1?
You could do that.
Yeah, however you want to do it. Just once we have 2 selectmen.
2 selectmen, 4 citizens, and Chris. Are you what do you consider, a citizen or something else?
He's DPW.
He's anybody we want him to
That's a
Isn't there
loaded
a movie
question.
like that? I can be anybody you want me to be.
Whatever you want.
I'd like to advertise. I mean,
And I have no
believe it should be
weaknesses either.
advertised.
It should be advertised.
Advertised, right?
But you should put some conditions,
Just ask
like
me.
Chris said, we need some good math skills, this is not,
Yeah, you
I
just
wanna be
don't,
honest,
exactly.
this is a critical thing that people need to have specific, credentials to be able
Math
to.
worthy, yeah, that's.
I know a gentleman on Oak Street that would love to come up and help you people out.
And who, oh, you put in
Okay,
there
so-
appointed by us, right?
What's that?
Appointed by us?
Yes,
So-
they'd be appointed by the Board of Selectmen, so if we got, more
50
than 4
people,
applications,
right.
yeah, we look through them,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, so, I think we talked about the scope, I think maybe the word review,
So we're gonna, to attempt to review
yeah,
and restructure if necessary.
yeah. And review rates to be equivalent to him.
I would just say attempt to review rate
Just
structure.
review rates, take out the restructure and.
Yeah,
To review rate
Yeah.
structure.
and everything else looks pretty good unless someone's.
Okay. I mean, this wasn't necessarily.
No, I understand,
meant
but I
to
think
be-
this is very good. This is
No,
very good.
yeah, absolutely.
And then we're going 2 selectmen, Chris, and 4, right?
Right.
And I will retype this, and in the meantime.
So we need a
I-
motion to
I would
advertise.
like to make a motion to adopt what we have here and to advertise for the 4 citizens to be appointed to
So
this.
adopt as amended, right?
Second.
Yes,
Okay. Which was it? So can we adopt him as amended, right?
adopted as a yes, as amended.
Is there a second? There was a second? on that?
Second.
Any further discussion on this?
Just, thank you,
I
Joe.
was just gonna say, yeah.
But when you're typing Clinton's again, apostrophe S.
Sorry. I'm not a punishment.
Mrs. O'Toole would be proud of me.
I used some good words, though.
Yeah.
Yes, she did. She'd be proud of you if you had her for English. she'd be
Anyway,
proud.
there's a motion on the floor. I mean, Joe, thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Thank you very much, Joe.
So again, all in favor? Aye.
Michael has a question.
Michael, you got a question?
Just want to do a question, how long do you want the advertisement process?
What do we typically advertise for any other advisory board?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay.
And that will put us for our next meeting. Right?
Yeah.
How about for our next meeting, to have for our next
Probably
meeting?
would be the next meeting.
Do you wanna-
Because it would be in the paper, so we get it for Friday, but so we can go out to the next meeting, so.
I'd like to be able to do a next meeting.
Yeah, I would too.
So
You guys,
Well,
we don't have that.
can you get together with him and make sure the ad is sufficient?
It's pretty simple.
Make
You're
sure
gonna
you-
probably just post this.
No, but you said
this
you
big.
wanted like, math skills and that stuff. I mean, is
Yeah.
that something you want to put in the ad or?
Yeah,
They should be sending credentials,
Yeah, some
Not just to let them
credentials,
enter it. We need to specify why.
Okay,
I think there'll be a lot of takers out there. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah, no,
you
I
need
do
to tell us
too.
why you're interested.
absolutely.
Okay, so do you want to do
So-
the next meeting, or what do you want to do?
I think we need to let people have enough time to,
Do you want 2 weeks? Then it won't be next meeting, just so you know.
that's okay.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, but we got, I mean, water bills are gonna be going out, so it's not, certainly
Right.
not affecting this water
But
bill.
it's-
I don't know how
It's till
urgent
the
you want
next
to get
one.
this going, that's all.
I want to get it going, but again, I want to give people enough time.
You wanna rush it
that,
through.
Want to.
There's a big
apply
commitment to
and,
do it.
Make sure we have the ad right before it goes in,
Okay.
and.
So we'll do that then.
Get the largest number of people possible to apply, so we.
Yeah, so get the ad out, and then we'll figure out,
I'll help you with
so, and we'll get that
Yeah,
done.
and then at least we'll see how many people
Right, so,
we may only get 4.
Thank you.
so, I mean.
Thank you to the
Thanks,
board
Joe.
for,
You voted on it? Yeah, we voted on it, okay. Anything else? So, you have anything else on the old new business?
Yep.
Go ahead.
I received, not for Chris.
Oh,
You
good.
can run while you.
Chris, thank you for everything.
Thanks, Chris.
Mr. Chairman, I confer with Bob Dean about the lighting.
Yes.
I'd like permission of the board, from the board, to approach NEMA to see if they might be able to facilitate some equipment to make
Okay.
this happen. I don't think what we have is really up to snuff.
Snuff, okay.
The board's permission, I can contact NEMA tomorrow and see if they can
Certainly.
provide the equipment. If not,
That'd be good.
That'd be great, Dino. I appreciate
Okay,
it.
so we get a motion?
People down there, I'll make a motion that we
Hold on a
we
second,
honor.
hold on a second.
Sorry.
You wait too quick on that motion thing. Slow down a bit. I want to thank you for that, Dino, for that idea. That's a good idea, so I appreciate that. I'm glad you brought that up.
at the moment, we don't have the resources, I don't believe.
Okay.
Hopefully in the future, we can work
Okay.
on that.
We thank you for that. So With that being said, is there a motion for that?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair, that we honor Mr. Sepanthas's offer of contacting FEMA? MEMA, for some emergency lighting down at the Oxford Court and
And
that
MEMA
area of
stands for,
town.
just so people know?
Sorry?
What does MEMA stand for, so people know?
Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency.
Second.
Okay, so second, any further discussion? Nope. All in favor? Aye. So that's done.
Thanks, Dino.
Thank you.
So all new business,
Wish you guys a good night.
take care.
Thanks, Dino.
Thanks, Dino.
Bobby, you had something?
Yeah, a gentleman sent me a letter asking about what the status of the retirement board is with the up-to-date list of retirees that are entitled to a pay raise at the active town meeting. I'm just wondering where we were. The gentleman gave me a little bit of history and doesn't believe it should fall into our lap, it should fall into the retirement board. I'm just wondering where are we with that, Michael, and
Just compiling all the rates of the previous people and what the new rates are, and coming up with the structure.
because this gentleman is certainly entitled to a long overdue increase.
Yeah, and I know there's been some concern about who should do it. The retirement board said it's a selectman, so we've been handling it, and some people feel it should be the retirement board.
Well, this is the dialogue of the letter is the retirement board is paid a stipend each year, and this gentleman feels it's their job to get everything done, bring it forward to us and us to pass it on. But I don't want to get in an intertanglement of whose authority what is.
I appreciate the gentleman's in the letter, but I guess the point is here to get the people what they need.
Right.
At this point, I don't really care who does it. I just want to give people what they need. Okay, because we can talk about, we can be on the positive road, or we can just start slamming people left and right for whatever it is. In reality, we need to get it done for the people because we've got voted on the town floor. So if we can expedite it to be quicker, and if we can work together with the retirement board to work together, there's no reason why we can't work together to get it done.
Yeah, the retirement board has been helpful giving some information, the accountant's been helpful with some information, and then contacting departments to get their information.
Right.
So everyone's working together to do it, so, yeah, so.
Do you have an expected time frame? Is it far
I was
out?
hoping for the next meeting, that we would
Yeah.
have
Okay.
a list for the board by the next meeting.
So it's not real far out?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Is there, so now I'm curious, I gotta ask, is there any reason why they say that it should be them and not us, specifically?
2 years ago, when the law was passed for those who went out on disability, it was handled by the retirement board. When we had it researched for this year's article, Mr. DeGeezy handed Mr. McCrell a list of 7 names who were eligible for the raise, and the new article would cover. Retirement board members are paid $3,000 per year, and I am firmly convinced that it is incumbent upon them to abide by the rules set down by the 206 article. I also feel the selectmen should question the town accountant on why this problem exists. Just wishing us best wishes, and could we move fastly on it so that...
Which we are.
Yeah.
And it's very important to understand that we need to move quickly and efficiently, but we also need to make sure that we do it correctly and accurately, because a lot of times we rush through things, and then we figure out we made a mistake here, and then we got to go back and try to fix something after the fact.
And the start date would be determined by the board, so it would either be, retroactive or to
Right.
the date that you wanted to.
Exactly, so.
I'm still a little bit unclear on, I understand that we would, pick the start date, and, in my mind, that's the beginning of the fiscal year, but why would it be incumbent on the Board of Selectmen to be delving into a retirement issue when the retirement board is there for that very reason? I don't understand that.
And I don't claim to know a lot about either, just my discussions with some members of the retirement board, and they had called the PERAC in Boston as well, too. And I guess it's because of determining what the previous positions were and what the current pay is, so the retirement board, wouldn't have the current contracts and all the information. So I guess they make it saying that the department, the people that are overseeing these departments would have the information more than the retirement board. Not that they couldn't find it out, but I think what the PERAC said that this information should be presented to the retirement board, and the retirement board should review and verify or approve it, review and approve it, but that it's not their responsibility to do the research. But that's what PERAC advised the retirement board, so that's what they passed on to the selectmen.
So they're not completely out of it, but they believe that the Board of Selectmen should do the research into the salary part of it.
Right, absolutely. Then
Okay.
after the selectmen develop a list, then that list goes to the retirement board. The retirement board has to do the final approval.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then that's good, I have a better understanding now. Thank you.
Anything else? No?
About that?
Yeah, about old and new business.
There were just a couple items on the list.
On here.
I'd like to see us re-advertise the Conservation Commission opening if we could. We only got one prospect.
I just want to make a comment on old and new business before we go any further. On old and new business, what I'd like to do in the essence of efficiency and getting information accurately to everybody, so we have time, if we have something, we get a letter or something between the meeting or something, unless it's an emergency, could we please get that to the town administrator so we can at least put it in our next meeting's packet, so we can at least discuss it with all the facts and stuff like this. It's kind of hard to kind of, act on something we just got on without checking all the facts. There's always two sides to every story. I think I would appreciate,
Sure.
that courtesy if it's possible.
No problem.
Because, there's an emergency, like the lighting, that's a different situation, but there's something that, that we can, get some opinions from, if we have to talk to the solicitor, what the legalities are, talk to the retirement board, for example, just to get all the facts, in a row. So, would appreciate that. Anything else, though? I know, Mike, you had a couple things.
But just on the list,
Yes.
there was a letter from Weed, and then there was a letter on conservation, that Mr. Pasquale was just going to discuss about the conservation, so just those two items.
Okay, so you want to go with the wheat thing? That's the community service request in the town hall youth and remembrance of the ceremony tree. Have they gone through the town hall committee? They want to use the steps, right? Yeah, that's just the same as you, yeah. So I don't have a problem with that. Is there a motion for that?
Sure, I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we accept their request and wish them the best of luck, and hopefully some of us can attend it. It's a wonderful,
It is.
it's a wonderful night.
Yeah, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion on that? Any further discussion?
Just to note again, they were looking to use the front of the steps for the speaking ceremony and then to close off the street, because then they walk across into the park to do the lighting. So they just didn't want traffic coming by there as they were proceeding across. But
Yeah.
then it's not that long.
Just have them coordinate with the police department to
Right.
close the street.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the night of the Pops concert, so they were looking to do it at 5, which would be then over enough of time for people to park there from the concert.
Right. And we're on the wheat on discussion, it's a little bit off, but they did a good job with the legislative breakfast,
Yes.
that first time breakfast they had. It was really rewarding to see, and all the things that wheat does for this community, that from battered women's to feeding the poor, just computers, a lot of things that they do, teach people how to get job interviews, all these things that people don't realize that this organization does, and they're growing, and they're making headway and progress, and I want to thank them for them for being here. Not just for Clinton, it's for other towns, Berlin and Lancaster. So I want to thank them for that, for their efforts, and that board. The board works hard to keep that going, and all the volunteers throughout the town, so thank you very much to them. There's a motion on the floor, all in favor? Aye. Conservation Commission vacancies, re-advertise that. You want to make that motion, Robert?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I would just like, I think, I applaud Mr. Moran for sending in this thing, and he may be the only one, but I'd like to see it re-advertised in the paper. I know a couple of constituents have stopped me on the street and showed interest in it, and they didn't really know for sure what it involved, how much time, so maybe if we were to re-advertise that and any other openings that we have, I don't know if there's that many other openings. We're pretty out full.
That's okay, it was just this board.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a cost factor issue, then I'm comfortable,
Yeah, no, I mean, we can just...
Now, is this advertisement to cost money, right? to the
How much?
town?
Yeah, I mean, if this
Yeah,
guy...
generally, there would be an ad fee for the ad. I wouldn't know offhand what it would be.
Unless we just do it on cable, it don't cost us anything.
Can we run it on cable?
Usually,
Give it one last try, I
advertised,
mean,
Can we just do it on
No,
the
but didn't we already
table?
advertise?
Yeah.
Wait, we don't
Back in
save
July.
the advertisement cost on this one position. The only question, I'll second that, but is it possible that Joshua O'Donohue could serve until he's replaced? Is that?
I think he moved out of town.
I think he's gone.
He moved out of town.
He's not around.
He was an asset to the ConCon. Great team player.
what's the pleasure of the board?
I'd like to give it one last shot through cable, but if you guys want to just go ahead and appoint, go ahead and make a motion to appoint.
I mean, it's an important position.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're saying that,
A couple people stopped, one of them was an ex-town official that just wondered how much time it took. I don't know, I've never gone to one of their meetings, I don't know what's involved, and the person happened to be in the science field, ecological type, and I told her to send a letter in, but maybe the ad would prompt her to do that now, you know?
It's a serious commitment, it's gonna take
Yeah,
time.
I know it has a lot to do with wetlands and stuff like that. I mean, this one individual that stopped me had some interest in that, so.
And, with our open space committee, we're gonna be doing some self-help grants.
They missed it in July, and I don't know.
when do we,
Really need
I'm sorry.
representation for that, yeah.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry, I was rude.
The role is important, the Conservation Commission role that they're going to serve moving forward with the open space acquisition committee when we try to get self-help grants and such, so we really need a full board on the Conservation Commission, so.
And there's two sides of it. I mean, we all agree that it's a critical situation, critical position rather. What's important, not critical, but it's important to the town. How long was it posted for?
I forget.
It's a couple weeks,
Oh,
right?
yeah, at least 2 weeks.
At least 2
Probably
weeks, yeah.
longer, yeah.
Is that when we did the reappointments?
Yeah, that's when we did all the other
Yeah,
reappointments.
in the past year, I want to say in the past year, we probably advertised 3 times for the conservation project.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put a couple people on there in the past year.
Yeah, there's been,
And this letter came in when?
just recently.
September 22nd.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I'm going to make a motion that we appoint Mr. Moran Senior to the Conservation Commission. He sent his letter in, it was advertised. If someone wanted it, I just think they should have sent the letter.
Yeah, I know there's been a period of time since the advertisement.
Right.
so-
Yeah, that's fine.
Is there a second on that?
I'll second that.
Okay, under discussion, any further discussion?
Do they need any alternates, or would this make it a full?
Well, this would make it a full board, and I don't think, because the question has come up in the past with the difficulty of getting members, about
Yeah.
having an alternate. I know the solicitor had looked into that and determined that the law doesn't allow for alternates.
Okay,
in
that's
conservation.
fine.
So unfortunately, it would have been nice, because then you'd have something.
Yeah.
You could have someone to drop back.
Yeah.
Just under discussion, I just think it's very important that we have a full board. And
Sure.
and where Mr. Moran has actually come forward and
He's got building knowledge, so he would be
Yes.
experienced with the wetlands and that kind of stuff, so that's fine.
I mean, I think, like you said, Buzz, it's like,
Yeah.
it's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's like,
Fine.
so. But for the welcome, there's always an opportunity to serve, and people tend to change, so when they see those advertisements, they apply quickly. We can use the help.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a motion on the floor, it's seconded, all in favor? Aye. So you're appointed Mr. John J. Moran to the position of conservation. Okay.
would Michael please call him and
Yeah.
let him know?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are we doing this community rail thing?
Something like that.
Or is it just for?
I think that's okay.
Could I just ask one question about the,
What was that?
do we need to table that or anything, or? the community
Mike,
rail?
what's the next one on the old new business?
Oh, that was just the board wanted to take some time to discuss how they wanted to handle that, just a request for that commuter rail committee, whether or not it would be something that would be, the town would establish, or whether it would be a citizen committee.
We do a little more research on that and see what is with that?
Right.
Is
what
it,
they're
you know,
looking for,
right.
what the other communities have done, yeah, whether it's, some citizens want to get together and do something, or whether it would actually be a
Right.
sanctioned selectman committee.
Any way we could check Michael with Leominster or any of those little towns that Shirley?
I would check with Worcester. Worcester just did a lot of work
Yeah,
with that.
the Union Station.
They did tons of work,
Yeah.
they made it like not just, the buses.
Right,
everything's
the restaurants and
going-
retail there,
Everything's
yeah.
going into one spot.
Yeah, it's
you know.
nice.
So I think you gotta look into that.
Can, I'll make a motion then just to table this until we can look into other active communities that are kind of doing the same thing.
Like, at this point, I think we've all got a lot of stuff on our
I'll
plate right
second
now,
that.
too. Second, okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Mr. Chairman, if I could just ask, I guess.
Yes, go ahead.
The situation with the person from the head of the elderly, remember that raise we were talking about?
Mm-hmm.
That they jumped? Were we going to talk to the personnel board about that or no?
But I forget what we,
I think the board just asked them for
why they did it.
a written letter, a letter to come back. And
Did we
some points
notify
on that.
them at all for that? of
Yeah,
that?
they're not meeting for a couple weeks
Okay.
until their next meeting. So
Okay.
they already had their October meeting before the board and everything.
Okay.
So they can change the board to develop that letter.
All right.
So they will do that.
They'll have our notice when they
Well,
meet.
did they give
Anyway.
you, they give you any indication that, I'm sorry, Bill.
No, go ahead.
They give you any indication that they're gonna do that or not do that?
Well, I mean, I think she said it's up to their committee. I mean, they'll discuss it at their committee, and I would assume that they would respond to the request.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, that didn't
Yeah.
sound too good.
Yeah, can I speak to the informational?
Yeah, it's just one more thing on all new business.
Old and new?
Yes, I want to clarify something for everybody. These constable positions that we keep getting letters for,
Oh, yes.
okay? The town of Clinton at this point in time is not looking for constables right at this point in time. We're in the process of doing research because somebody had requested to be appointed. So we're in the process of doing research for that. So we're not advertising anything, we're not posting anything, we're not looking for one at this point in time. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't necessarily need them, but the process to do that is very complicated. It's not just you stamp somebody and give somebody a constable job. We have a lot of responsibility as selectmen, as the character of people. There's a whole process of how this needs to be done. It's a very detailed process, and I have a packet here that, if you want a copy, that Mike was kind enough to get for me.
Yeah.
As to what the whole process is. A lot of legalities, a lot of things.
Can we have them for next week, Steve?
You can have them, but I don't think we're going to be talking about this.
No.
I think
No, just so we can read.
you can have it tonight if you want. What I'm saying is, there's a lot of information here that people need to do.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
it's
and you're
very,
dealing,
very
we're
important.
responsible if people don't do the right thing. It's about reference checks, investigations by the police department. It's very
Background
detailed.
checks, everything.
It's tons. Because they got power to transport and print, all kinds of stuff. They get a badge.
I'm a constable.
Exactly, yeah, but you're also a police officer too. So, there's a lot of detail on that, so please don't continue to send these things in because we're not looking to hire anybody right now. But the process here, it's all available to everybody and stuff like that, but.
It is.
Because people are starting with hiring, we're not at this point in time. We just need to understand the process, whether we need it or not. You know, that's the other thing. It's a nice thing to have, but we need to make sure that it's the right thing to do for the town. So, it's available. I'll give it back to Mike. Mike can make copies for everybody.
No, that'd be great.
But I just wanted to clarify that, because I know it keeps coming up. You know, it's a delicate issue. Just want to make sure that's, if we decide we want to do it, we can. But we hold, we bear a lot of responsibility when we appoint somebody. As Mike can attest to it. So, any committee you want to talk about?
Well, when you're going to get to number 10, I'll
Okay.
have something.
Okay, any committee reports?
Well, the Open Space Acquisition Committee, just for the public to see, we've got 2 checks in the mail here.
Outstanding.
This is good.
Nice.
Starting to get some money rolling in here. This is good. That's about it, really. We're still going through our plan of what we're going to be using the land, what we're going to use when we go for grants, you know, as for planned usage of the land, and also how we're going to attack the fundraising. You know, certain people are going to look into corporations, other people are going to look into grants, so we've broken it down into smaller, not really subcommittees, but different people are going to be looking at them, at different areas. That's all I have.
Okay, any other committee reports?
The Memorial Garden is getting ready to draft a letter together to use the cemetery for their candlelight session on December 11th. I'll have more
Okay.
particulars at the next meeting.
Okay, great. Now, do you want to talk about the vote ramp thing?
That's,
That's something else. That's
That's
executive.
executive.
Okay, go
this
ahead.
is informational.
Go ahead.
I just want, it's a question from Michael Warren. There's a grant, a Smart Growth Award program there. I don't know what that entails there. Is that anything that we can forward to our planning board or our
Sure.
Office of Community and Economic Development to see?
Sure, I'll forward them the information, they may already have received it. It's an award for a project, so a smart growth project that may happen throughout the year, that the state would just give an award to highlight, and that is following their guidelines of the new Commonwealth Development Smart Growth Guidelines that the state has, which they put out for growth and also for the criteria for grants and stuff like that. So I think what they're looking is to see if the criteria that they're using, what are some good projects that they can highlight that have used that criteria, and then they give awards, which just kind of gives it recognition, with the
So the award is just recognition, it's not money? or-
Exactly, that's right, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And one more thing on the old news before I forget. Do you know how, I forgot to ask Chris when he was here, maybe you can talk to Chris about how the grand opening for the water filtration plant is coming along?
Yeah, and I think Mr. Pasquale alluded to that.
Yeah, I asked him tonight.
To design of the sign.
He's getting there.
He's getting there?
Design for tonight.
And the plaque and stuff?
Yeah, right, yeah, so, hopefully for the next meeting, he'll have that design for the board to approve, and then, we can start planning.
If you give us some stuff ahead of time, I'd like to look at that. Can you give me a call? Make sure that we're on the same page. Okay. All righty.
One more thing.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Steve.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mendoza.
Steve's fine.
Do we send out the letter to the Council on Aging regarding the,
We did it. We need to sign it. We need to get it done. So that'll be happening.
okay, it hasn't been sent out?
No.
Sent out?
Brings me to one other small question. The transcription of the minutes of that executive session meeting, has that been done?
It's been started, but it's not completed. I've been doing that because Joyce wasn't at those meetings, so I didn't want to put her in that position of having to try to discern the minutes and stuff. So I have the tapes. We started it and doing a verbatim description, so.
We need those for next meeting.
Yeah, because I believe that we should go along with the letter. Well, I believe we have to, do we have to make, we would have to approve the release of those. Is that correct, Mr. Sargent?
Yeah, you're right.
At least, so the letter which we, do we all agree on the content of the letter?
Yeah, I think we changed something slightly. It's one
I didn't see it, so I don't know.
You have an opportunity to look at it.
Oh, I didn't know we were drafting one.
No, we didn't.
He handed it out last
Yeah.
week.
Oh, is it in our packet?
Last week.
No, he handed it.
Oh, I wasn't
handed it
on it. Oh, okay. Do you have a copy of it tonight or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
We changed it.
Then we were going to suggestion, I remember changing one word or
Yeah,
something.
just one word.
You
So
messed
maybe
up.
we can really just look at it, because
You
I'm
messed
sure you
up,
guys are
Mike?
on board with that. Nothing, and I was away last week.
messed up.
With my kids.
Admit it.
No, I understand. I just wanted to get a status on
Right.
it.
I just got one thing left under old and new. It's kind of new business.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But Sunday night, I was out walking, and there was a homeless woman in the park that needed help. And where weed is closed on Sunday and Monday, I kind of talked with Michael about it, and there was no place for this person to go. Fortunately, the police were able to help her because she had fallen, and they took her by ambulance and took her to the hospital. But I'm wondering, where we fund wheat with some money, I'm wondering if somehow we could build in a mechanism that the police could have maybe a 1-800 number to call Jody or call somebody for.
I'm sure that I'm going to go on a limb here, I'm sure that if somebody picked up the phone and said, call Jody, Jody would have taken care of that situation on the spot.
Yeah.
That's my feeling about that. I think
I'm sure too, Steve.
I think the mechanism is already there. I think somebody just should have picked up the phone and said,
Okay.
hey, Jody, I got a situation, and she would have been there, or she would have had somebody for that.
Believe it or not, it's becoming more and more prevalent in our town.
I agree.
And it really bothered me that this woman was all set to sleep in the park
Right.
at 32-degree weather.
Right.
People had helped her over the weekend to get her a room at the Motor Inn, but there was no more mechanism to kick in extra help.
Yeah, there's a lot of churches that do that. There's United Way does that. We does that. There's a lot of resources here. So I guess I'm having a tough time believing that we couldn't service something like that.
And when I went to the police station, other than the fact that the woman had fallen, there was not much that the dispatcher said could be done.
Well,
So
maybe that's something we need to, maybe ask the chief what mechanisms he has.
maybe start some kind of dialogue, because, if these folks are hanging around town, the saddest thing in the world to see is to see somebody on the side of the road with a Victory shopping cart. I didn't think it existed in our town.
And I think that's what Ms. Pasquale is just getting at, to see if it's after hours, who could be called in an immediate need. Like if it was something that the next morning they could get it, and they could get it. If it was for overnight, if it's dark, it's 11 o'clock and it's cold out, who can they do immediately?
Again, I'm speaking, maybe I'm speaking out of, I think that if somebody had called Jody at home, she was here, but you're right.
But
You want a standard operating procedure as to what the
Right, it should
problem
be
is.
something so that she wouldn't have to worry about getting calls at midnight on a Sunday night, that there could be someone on call or someone available.
Guess my suggestion out there would be for the chief of police is to get together with Jody. I'm sure Jody's gonna have tons of resources for it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Right?
She's always willing to see what she can do at
Right.
any time.
There's tons of resources out there that we can do that. So I agree with it. No one should be sleeping out.
Maybe that's what we need to do, is just get Jody's number to everybody and see if she's...
Or at least talk to the chief, so, what's the number?
Right.
That's just communication.
I've never seen it in my lifetime, and I witnessed it firsthand, and if I had the cash on me, I would have brought her up to the Motor Inn, but...
Forget, you've never seen it when you were going to
No.
Smitty?
No.
All the time.
He slept in the jail.
Not all the time.
Oh, see, no, I didn't see it, so...
Yeah. Okay, anything else on the old and new business?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any public comment? Yes?
I heard you gentlemen speaking of some emergency lighting around on High Street. We can do some of it, but that's an awful long stretch.
Right.
I know you're concerned about the darkness.
Right, we talked about doing some of it, not all of it. Just try to put some light out there, a little bit of it. We know we can't do all of it, we realize
No, that's what I was going to that.
Right.
Plus, if I start running cords around there, that could be a hazard. Some of the lighting runs on 110, some runs on 220.
that. Right, that's why we're looking at the options. Right, so we realize that. We're not looking to create a safety hazard than what it already is.
We wouldn't want to do that.
Right,
The Prospect Street area, we could do if the other option doesn't work out with the
Right.
state. I don't think the state's going to do anything. You can
right.
check on it, see if
But
it can
we don't lose anything by trying,
be
right?
under an emergency situation.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to say, Mr. Brown?
No,
Okay.
we're capable of doing some of it, it's just, we need a lot of cables to run that whole gamut.
Yeah, we realize that, we're just trying to put something out there, we're just brainstorming stuff.
High-end prospects.
Trail mounted generator could be put at Prospect Street. See
Yeah,
what
that-
we can do in both directions. The only other thing you gotta worry about is the height of some of our lighting is kind of on the low side. You have to worry about
Right.
blind drivers.
Right, that was brought up also.
That's what Chris was
So, we have to have the right mechanism there, that's correct.
Our top, one of our top, some of the equipment goes 10 feet, and some of it goes a little bit higher. That's not like a street light, because the street light's up higher. It's
Right.
out of the driver's vision.
Right. Okay, great.
Those are the only couple of things that I have concerns.
Okay.
Cables and blind motors,
Yeah.
because of the height of the light.
Yeah,
Can't
those
go up
concerns
too
were
high
brought-
because they're top heavy.
Right.
Some of the equipment.
Right, some of those concerns were brought
The
up.
one I use at the football game is about 15 feet up. I have two of those tripods.
Okay,
And the trail mounted tower, like I said, is a 10-foot antenna tower.
right. Okay. Anything else?
1,500 watt lights on the trailer and a lot of 1,000 watt lights too. Then you get into cords and setting up separate lights up the sidewalk from that intersection.
Right,
We have 3 ones, we have a trailer unit and 2 vehicles and generators.
okay. Anything else?
Lighting.
All right, well, thank you so much for letting us know about that. Okay.
We'll wait and see what happens with FEMA.
Yeah. You see, don't lose by,
Where it's not a fire scene or a, collapsed building or stuff like that, I don't know if they're, but it's well worth asking.
can't hurt asking.
That's
you
right.
know, so. All right. Well, thank you so much. Any other public comment?
Can I, at this point, just, Michael, do you want to start with your contract, or how do you want to handle that, or?
Well, I know the board discussed it last meeting, and we need to just put together the process and some document to start discussions with. So.
Yeah, Mike and I talked about that briefly. We were thinking maybe set something on like in November. Because it's, what week, timeframe, right? We can get some of this
Okay.
stuff, but we can do that. So we talked about Mike's gonna get a copy of everybody's, the contract, so everybody has a copy of that.
Yeah.
So you can start working on that.
Okay.
That way you put it in a better position, so. Because we don't wanna wait till the last minute.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, thank you. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm done.
have a copy of his current contracts?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay.
Taking everything out.
Okay. Any other public comment or anything else? Okay, being none, next order of business is executive session. Under Article 3 for the South Meadow Road boat ramp.
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session under Article 3 boat ramp.
Is there a second on that?
Second.
Any further discussion on that? Being none, requires a roll call vote. Selectman Florentino?
Aye.
Selectman Notaro? Aye. Selectman Brazillo?
Aye.
Selectman Pasquale?
Aye.
The chair votes aye.